Chapter 242. When Guo heard Yi Chen's words, he couldn't help but stare blankly for a moment before understanding Yi Chen's meaning. "My lord, are you saying that His Majesty is greedy for money?" Yi Chen nodded and said, "His Majesty is not greedy. His Majesty is extraordinarily greedy. If I don't give him enough money, my reward, even with Zhang Li's help, will shrink. General pacifying North is in the bag, but it's not enough. This time, we've made a great contribution in defeating Wuhuan. If we make a mistake in terms of money, wouldn't we lose more? Jia understands. Please rest assured, my lord. Jia will do his best to accomplish this." Guo Yi immediately bowed and said. Yi Chen chuckled and nodded. Then he said, "I can rest assured with Feng Xiao's work." After saying this, Yi Chen looked at Zhao Yun and shouted, "Zhao Yun!" Hearing Yi Chen's shout, Zhao Yun hurriedly turned his horse around and came to Yi Chen's side. He bowed and said, "My lord." Yi Chen nodded and said, "Take 10,000 troops to Luoyang. Yunjing, lead 10,000 soldiers and escort Feng Xiao to Luoyang. Remember, the world is not peaceful recently. If you encounter people with golden headbands, you must be careful. Just treat them as bandits who cannot be killed for the time being. If they deliberately approach the army, kill them without mercy." "Yes, my lord." "My lord." When Zhao Yunjing heard this, his heart couldn't help but sink. He then bowed and replied. Zhao Yun knew about the existence of the Golden Scarf sect. He also knew that the Golden Scarf sect was spread all over the world in large numbers. If the Golden Scarf sect started a riot, the world would fall into chaos. Yi Chen's intention was clearly to tell Zhao Yun one thing. The Golden Scarf sect was about to sweep the world. Otherwise, Zhao Yun's heart would not have sunk when he heard Yi Chen's words. When Yi Chen saw Zhao Yun's expression, he knew that Zhao Yun still had a trace of reluctance in his heart. He couldn't help but sigh and say, "Yunjing, Jin and the others seem to be kind, but in fact they have ulterior motives. The reason why they haven't shown their fangs is that they haven't started anything yet. Remember, don't be soft-hearted just because they are dressed like commoners. That is a great taboo. If he wanted to save them, he could only kill them until they were afraid, until they cried, until they begged for mercy, and then recruit them. That was the right way. Before the upper echelons of the Golden Scarf sect were killed, the Golden Scarf sect's followers were a bunch of brainwashed lunatics. There's only one way to deal with them: kill them. Yunjing is guilty. I knew that Jin and his men were bandits, but I sympathized with them. My lord, please punish me." Zhao Yunjing was stunned when he heard this, and then he bowed in shame. There's nothing wrong with sympathy because they were originally commoners. However, if you bring sympathy to the battlefield, then it's a grave mistake. "Yunjing, do you understand?" Yi Chen glanced at Zhao Yun before speaking. "Yes, my lord. Yunjing will definitely learn from this lesson and won't do it again." Zhao Yunjing nodded his head heavily and said. Yi Chen looked at Zhao Yun's solemn expression and nodded with satisfaction. Then, he said, "Very good. I have an important mission in Luoyang. I must ensure Feng Xiao's safety. I'll do my best to ensure the safety of the military advisor." Zhao Yun became serious when he heard this. Then, he responded loudly. "My lord, we still need to purchase a large amount of food in Samsara in case of an emergency." Guo Yi thought of something and looked at Yi Chen. Yi Chen couldn't help but smile when he heard this. Then, he said, "I've already prepared food before Feng Xiao came to Samsara. I'm not afraid of having too much food, but I'm afraid that it won't be enough. When we return to Samsara City, I'll give the order to purchase a large amount of food. With Mi Zhu and Mi Zhong around, it should be much easier." "Mi Zhu and Mi Zhong? You mean Mi Zhong, a wealthy merchant from Shuzhou?" Guo Yi was slightly surprised and then asked. "That's right. It's him." Yi Chen nodded with a smile and then said, "Congratulations, my lord. Congratulations, my lord. Mi Zhong's family has a wealth of over 100 million. They have more than 10,000 customers and countless craftsmen. With Mi Zhong's support, my lord will be like a tiger that has grown wings. The day of Samsara's rise is not far away. Guo Yi was overjoyed when he heard this. He then bowed and said, Guo Yi was right. Mi Zhu did give Yi Chen a big surprise and was of great help to Samsara. If Samsara wants to rise, none of you can be missing. Yi Chen laughed and then said. Guo Yi and Zhao Yun looked at each other and smiled when they heard this. Then, they bowed and said, We will do our best until our deaths. Let's go. Yi Chen nodded with a smile and then said, Yes, my lord. Zhao Yun and Guo Yi bowed and replied. Then, they went to the back of the army to prepare the money. Not long after, they left with 10,000 soldiers. As for Yi Chen, after destroying the Wuhuan kingdom, he wanted to move faster. Unfortunately, it was difficult. Fortunately, he had obtained countless warhorses. Although the movement speed was a bit slow, it wasn't too slow. 3 days later, in the outskirts of Yangla County in Yuzhou, Yi Chen led the Samsara sect's army and arrived in a leisurely manner. As soon as Yi Chen appeared, he attracted the attention of the players in Yangla County. It was difficult not to notice him. How could the movement of 100,000 army be small? Moreover, there was an endless horde of warhorses within the army. Looking at the endless horde of warhorses and the simple carriages filled with gold, silver, and jewels, the gamer's eyes turned green with envy. Damn! Damn! Are my eyes playing tricks on me? How many warhorses are there? I can't count. Damn, there's no end to it. It's at least 1,000,000. Damn, warhorses are so expensive. Yi Chen got so many warhorses. Won't Samsara City be full of cavalry in the future? You only look at the warhorses. Didn't you see the simple carriages? They're filled with gold, silver, and jewels. Damn! How many carriages are there? Over 1,000. How much money is that? Look, those are the pillars of the warhorses. Damn it, purple gold. Those are purple gold pillars. F***ck. I heard the world announcement and knew that Yi Chen had a great harvest. But this F***king harvest is simply heaven-defying. If he wants money, he has money. If he wants war horses, he has war horses. He even has a heaven-rank soldier recruitment order. Who the F***ck can stop him? Damn, I really want to steal it. If I can steal it, it'll be worth it even if I die once. I F***king want to snatch it too, but I F***king don't dare. Don't forget that when Yi Chen kills people, he either faints for 3 days or turns into a lunatic. How many of us are there? We're not even enough to fill the gaps between his teeth. How about we shout it in the World Channel? If you're so awesome, then shout it. Look at those in Yuzhou. How many people dare to go against Yi Chen? If you shout it in the World Channel, your name will be exposed. Aren't you afraid that Yi Chen will kill you? You'll become an idiot if you die once. Can you guarantee that you won't become an idiot if you die a few more times? Why are you persuading him? Tell him to shout it, you idiot. If he shouts it, it'll attract others and we can fish in troubled waters. Chapter 243. Damn it, you really think I don't dare to shout? Isn't it just being hunted? The world is so big, and it's not like you can only survive in Yuzhou. If you can't survive here, you can just go somewhere else. The player who suggested that Yi Chen's extra gains be sent to the World Channel opened his eyes and shouted. Say it on the World Channel. If you say it, we'll all call you Big Brother, someone said provocatively. F***ck. Just you wait. The next second, a message appeared on the World Channel. Old and young masters, look carefully. Yi Chen's northern expedition to Wuhuan is not just what the system announced. He also obtained at least tens of millions of warhorses, tens of thousands of carts of gold and jewels, and tens of thousands of pillars made of gold and purple gold. Each pillar is at least 5,000 kilograms. Do you want to become a tycoon? Come to Yangla County quickly. Yi Chen is here. If you're late, you won't be able to make it in time. The world channel instantly went silent when this message appeared. 3 seconds later, the world channel was in an uproar. F***CK. F***CK. What kind of heinous thing did Yi Chen do? He actually stole so many good things. F***CK. What are we waiting for? Let's go together and steal Yi Chen once. We'll have everything. Right. Let's go together. Don't wait anymore. Many hands make light work. Let's go together and steal Yi Chen. After that, we'll escape far away. The Great Han Empire is so big. He won't be able to find us. Waha, brother is right. The world is so big. What's there to worry about? Let's go to Yangla County. Count me in. Idiot, you really don't know how to write the word death. That place is so close to Yi Chen's territory. You guys dare to steal from him? There really are people who aren't afraid of death. Did all of you forget how Yi Chen killed those people in Luoyang? What's there to be afraid of? There's a chance. Wealth comes from danger. What's the point of being a hero if you're afraid of death? Templar Town, I warn all those who have bad intentions. No matter who they are, as long as they participate in the robbery, they will be the Templar Town's mortal enemy. In addition, the Templar Town is to hunt down Stallion Pear Blossom. Anyone who reports his location will be rewarded with 10,000 gold. Kill him. The reward is 1 million. Beauty Town will always stand by General Pingbei's side. Anyone who targeted General Pingbei Yi Chen would be listed on the Beauty Alliance's must-kill list. In addition, stock of Pear Blossom would be wanted. Anyone who reported his location would be rewarded with 100,000 gold. Kill him. A bounty of 10 million. Last until level 0. Yi Chen, who was leading the army back to Samsara City, looked at the world channel the moment it appeared. Yi Chen couldn't help but frown when he saw that there were people defending him on the world channel. Before, in Wuhuan, there were a dozen or so players who had seen Samsara's army's bountiful loot, but no one had told the world about it. This was because they had gained a lot of benefits because of Yi Chen. Moreover, they were afraid of Yi Chen from the bottom of their hearts. However, if they entered Yuzhou and were discovered by the players again, it would be different. They hadn't gained any benefits because of Yi Chen. Envy, jealousy, and hatred filled their hearts. They wanted to steal the war horses, they wanted to steal the gold, silver, and jewelry, but they didn't have the confidence. As a result, Stalk of Pear Blossom sent a message to the World Channel, calling for more people to come and rob Yi Chen. However, what Yi Chen didn't expect was that Sanctuary Town and Beauty Town would publicly announce that they were on Samsara's side. Before, they had only been congratulating him and inviting him. They hadn't made their stance clear. There was no such thing as love or hatred for no reason in the world. Sanctuary Town and Beauty Town's stance wasn't that simple. Their stance today could be considered an official declaration that they considered Samsara City as an ally. The more they acted like this, the more Yi Chen couldn't easily attack them in the future. Not only couldn't he attack them, but he also had to help them when they were in trouble. Of course, this was what most people thought. However, in Yi Chen's eyes, this was similar to moral coercion. Moreover, they were borrowing Samsara's might to develop their own forces. Thinking of this, Yi Chen narrowed his eyes. It was fine if they weren't enemies, but as an ally, forget it. As for borrowing power, don't even think about it. After thinking about it, Yi Chen directly sent a message to the World Channel. If you want to rob us, you're welcome. As long as you're not afraid of death. Also, Samsara City doesn't need allies and won't have allies. As soon as Yi Chen's domineering and arrogant words appeared in the World Channel, it instantly exploded. F***CK. What's Yi Chen trying to say? He wants to become the enemy of the whole world? F***CK. This bullshit doesn't need allies and won't have allies. Do you think that just because you're good at it you can fight against the whole world? Tisk TSK. The faces of Templar Town and Beauty Town have been slapped so hard. This spray of pear blossom has just been slapped in the face. I want to ask Templar Town and Beauty Town, do your faces hurt? I feel that Templar Town and Beauty Town are using Yi-Chen. F***ck, sending a message to the World Channel doesn't cost them anything, and they can even borrow Yi-Chen's power. If Yi-Chen didn't say this, I'm sure that Templar Town and Beauty Town would rise quickly. You know, Yi-Chen doesn't accept underlings, and there are many people who want to be Yi-Chen's underlings. Hey, if you put it that way, it's really possible. Don't talk nonsense. Do you want to rob Yi-Chen personally or from his power? What are you waiting for? Yi-Chen is so powerful. If you don't rob him, you won't have a good time after he digests what he got this time. That's right. Anyway, Yi-Chen said that he doesn't need allies. What's there to be afraid of? Go. Kill Yi-Chen. Beauty Town has always been on the side of General Pingbei Yi-Chen. The previous arrest order is still valid. In addition, General Pingbei, please don't misunderstand. Beauty Town has no intention of using you. Templar Town's previous promise is still valid. In addition, General Pingbei, Templar Town is willing to establish a friendly relationship with Samsara City. No need for an alliance. No matter what Samsara City needs, as long as Templar Town has it, General Pingbei, you can ask for it. After Yi-Chen saw the content on the World Channel, his eyes suddenly widened, and a cold light flashed in them. Whether it was the real world or the game world, there was no lack of people who would make a fuss. Moreover, they were the kind of people who would make a fuss with a certain purpose. On the World Channel, there were obviously people who were targeting Yi-Chen's words. They were starting to make a fuss and provoke the greed of the players. Come on, come on. Whether it's greed or desire, if you want to rob, you have to see if you have the ability to do so. Thinking of this, Yi-Chen's body suddenly exploded with a violent and cold killing intent. He then looked at Zhao Meng and shouted, "Zhao Meng?" Hearing Yi-Chen's shout, Zhao Meng's expression changed. He hurriedly rode to Yi-Chen's side and bowed, "My lord." Yi-Chen narrowed his eyes and then shouted, 90,000 soldiers, escort the spoils of war back to Samsara City. Kill anyone who dares to follow along the way. Kill anyone who dares to come within 500 meters. After returning to Samsara City, set up ballistae on the city walls. Chapter 244. After Zhao Meng heard Yi-Chen's order, he was momentarily stunned. Then, his anger erupted. Yi-Chen's order was very clear. Someone was after the spoils of war. How could Zhao Meng not be angry? My lord, I'm willing to stop the enemy. Zhao Meng hastily bowed and shouted, "This is a military order." Yi-Chen glared at Zhao Meng and then shouted. Zhao Meng opened his mouth and then bowed with a conflicted expression. "Yes, my lord." Yi-Chen nodded his head and then said, "Move quickly. Don't waste any time." At this moment, the historical storyline hadn't appeared yet, so the teleportation formation wouldn't be sealed. Players could easily teleport over. If only a few came, then it wouldn't be a problem. But if too many came, then even if Yi-Chen led all of Samsara's soldiers, they wouldn't be able to stop all of the players. This was because they were in the outskirts and covered a large area. Even if they used the White Tiger battle formation, they wouldn't be able to kill everyone in a short amount of time. As a result, Yi-Chen couldn't leave all of his soldiers behind. Fighting with the players head-on would be fun, but having the spoils stolen wasn't something Yi-Chen wanted to see. As for blocking the 4 city gates of Yangla County, or having the Yangla County magistrate personally close the teleportation formation, these 2 methods wouldn't work before the Great Han Empire collapsed. If Yi-Chen dared to bring soldiers to block the gates of Yangla County, then no matter what excuse he used, he would immediately be accused of rebellion. No one would be able to convince him otherwise. As for closing the teleportation formation, there was only one way to do it, and that was to take down Yangla County. Otherwise, the Yangla County magistrate wouldn't close the teleportation formation, even if Yi Chen had a high position. This was even more undesirable for Yi Chen. As a result, Yi Chen decided to personally bring up the rear and have Zhao Meng escort the spoils of war back to Samsara City. Yes, my lord. Hearing this, Zhao Meng didn't dare to hesitate any longer. He hastily bowed and then hurriedly left, ordering Samsara's soldiers to quickly transport the spoils of war. These spoils of war were neither cultivation techniques nor equipment, but they made many people go crazy with envy. This was because when they were gathered together, they formed an incomparably huge mountain of gold. Furthermore, it was a huge mountain of gold that was exposed to the public. Even though the number of Yi Chen's gold mine being posted on the World Channel was exaggerated, the players really liked it. Benefits moved people's hearts. Money blinded people's eyes. It was that simple. There was no one who wasn't jealous. In addition, there were people stirring up trouble on the World Channel. The greed in the hearts of the players was greatly aroused. Yangla County's teleportation circle started to flicker the moment the group of people on the World Channel started to make a ruckus, and it never went out. A large number of players rushed to Yangla County from all over the Three Kingdoms beginner regions. Everyone wanted to take a bite out of Yi Chen's huge gold mine. Even if they only managed to snatch a warhorse, they would still be able to earn tens of thousands of gold coins. If he could get his hands on a violet gold pillar, that would be 1 million violet gold coins, which would be 10 billion credits. In the eyes of the players, if they were killed, they would at most be unconscious for 3 days. If they were unlucky, they would become idiot. However, in the face of a huge amount of wealth, many people were willing to take this risk. Moreover, many people believed that even if they were killed, they would only be unconscious for 3 days and not become idiot. Yi Chen looked at the players who started to rush out of the city gate. With a wave of his right hand, the God Slayer instantly appeared. He then shouted, "Get ready!" Swoosh! The Samsara Legion raised their guns and pointed them at the players at the city gate. A tyrannical killing intent instantly rose. Zhao Meng was leading the Samsara Legion towards Samsara City. However, there were too many warhorses. They couldn't finish moving in a short period of time. Looking at the endless horde of warhorses, the players who rushed out of the city were instantly in an uproar. F***CK. It's real. Look, those warhorses. I can't see the end of them. F***CK. Where are the carts of gold, silver, and jewelry? Where are the violet gold pillars? In the middle of the horde. I see it. F***CK. There's really a violet gold pillar. It's F***King huge. A player who had climbed up a tree suddenly shouted. As soon as he finished speaking, the player's eyes instantly turned green. Charge! If we can get a pillar, it'll be worth it even if we die. With a loud shout, the players suddenly rushed towards the horde of warhorses. The players at the city gate of Yangla County surged out like a flood. Those who left the city led the way, the newcomers joined in, and those who stayed in the city followed. Towards the end, the players who had just been teleported over from the teleportation portal started to run after them. Everyone had a herd mentality. When there were many people, as long as one person took the lead, the others would definitely follow. The players who came to Yangla County were in such a state. The teleportation portal constantly lit up and players continuously appeared. Then, they joined the rushing army and rushed towards the Samsara Legion. 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 2 million, the number of players increased rapidly. Towards the end, players appeared at the other 3 city gates of Yangla County. Because there were too many players in the city, one city gate couldn't allow all the players to rush out at once. The players weren't willing to wait. The result of waiting was that the good stuff would be taken by others first. Yi Chen looked at the increasing number of players rushing out of Yangla County. His eyes narrowed and a cold light flashed in them. Did they really think that this was a game and that it wouldn't matter if they died today? I'll show you what horror is. What despair is? Godslayer, damaged natural treasure, damaged when Pan-Gu split the sky. It fell into the mortal world, and has been repaired by 1%. After use, the soul will be bound. Cannot be dropped, traded, or stolen. Special characteristics. 1. Shatter. Shatter weapons lower than the Godslayer. The lower the grade, the higher the probability. 2. Devour. Devour souls. The stronger the living being killed, the lower the probability of devouring. At this moment, if the people killed by Yi Chen activated the Godslayer's devour characteristic, they would definitely die in the real world. This was the main reason why Yi Chen stayed behind. Without the threat of death, people would often take risks out of desperation. Everything that Yi Chen had now was obtained by Yi Chen's own hard work. It was fine for others to be jealous, but they couldn't rob him. To Yi Chen, there was only one outcome for those who wanted to rob him. Kill. Kill until they were terrified. Kill until they were in despair. The players surged forward like a tide. When they reached 2,000 meters in front of the Samsara Legion, they ran to both sides in unison. They refused to get within 2,000 meters of the Samsara Legion. This was because all the players knew that Yi Chen's White Tiger battle formation could kill a large number of people. Moreover, the attack range was 1 to 2,000 meters. Therefore, no one was willing to group together, let alone get within 2,000 meters of the Samsara Legion. However, there were too many people here. It was difficult not to group together. Moreover, their data was wrong. 2,000 meters was the initial attack range of the White Tiger battle formation. At this moment, the White Tiger battle formation's maximum attack range was 8,000 meters. If Yi Chen's seal was lifted, it could reach 10,000 meters directly. Looking at the players who thought themselves clever, Yi Chen sneered and shouted, "Charge! Rumble!" Thousands of horses galloped and the earth shook. Yi Chen rode in front, and the Samsara Legion followed closely behind. They instantly launched their charge. Chapter 245. Yi Chen is charging. Get out of the way. A terrified scream came from the crowd. Don't be afraid. Shoot him to death. Quick. Those with bows and arrows, hurry up and shoot him to death. Yes, yes, release the arrows. Release the arrows. What are you afraid of? We have more people. Release the arrows. F*CKU, you idiot. Why aren't you releasing the arrows? The players were shouting, but none of them actually attacked. This was because they knew that Yi Chen could use the White Tiger battle formation many times, so no one dared to attack. If they did, they might attract Yi Chen's crazy revenge. The White Tiger battle formation could kill a large number of players. If it couldn't reach them once, it could reach them twice. Therefore, even though the players were shouting loudly, they were scrambling to avoid the path that Yi Chen would definitely pass through. Yi Chen, who was riding on the golden Pegasus, looked at the players who were hurriedly retreating and smiled coldly. He squeezed the horse's belly with his legs, and the Pegasus Little Gold instantly changed direction and rushed into the crowd. In a few breaths, Yi Chen rushed into the crowd. The God-Slayer in his hand was instantly activated in berserk mode. Bam bam bam, the players were constantly sent flying by the Pegasus Little Gold. They instantly vomited blood and died, and their corpses were constantly flying in both directions. Poochie, 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 bam, bam, bam. Yi Chen's right hand swung the God-Slayer up and down, stabbing and smashing. It was a simple and violent move, but it displayed a frightening power. In front of Yi Chen, the players were as weak as ants. Not a single one of them could withstand a single attack from Yi Chen. And the players who were attacked by Yi Chen were instantly killed. Their bodies would explode and explode everywhere. At this moment, the equipment on their bodies also turned into dust that filled the air. Fresh blood splattered everywhere, and minced meat flew everywhere. There were also white bone fragments, smelly organs, and broken intestines. In a few breaths, Yi Chen killed hundreds of players by himself. There were also hundreds of people who were sent flying by the golden warhorses. The players near Yi Chen trembled in fear as they frantically tried to distance themselves from Yi Chen. However, there were people everywhere. It was impossible to leave immediately. Furthermore, Pegasus Xiao Jin was extremely fast. Even in an open space, players could not outrun Xiao Jin no matter how fast they ran. F***CK. Get the F***CK out. Get lost. Don't block my way. F***CK. There are people in front of me too. Do you think I want to block you? F***CKU. Get out of the way. The players in front of Yi Chen started yelling and screaming in fear. They were terrified, scared, and wanted to escape. This was because Yi Chen's Godslayer could turn their hard-earned equipment into dust. They didn't want to suffer any losses. However, they didn't realize that Godslayer was a little different at this moment. After the Godslayer killed a player, it would light up from time to time. Sometimes it would light up continuously. However, even if they saw it, they wouldn't understand what it meant. They didn't know, but Yi Chen knew that it was the Godslayer's soul-devouring ability. Every time the Godslayer lit up, it meant that a player had been completely killed by the Godslayer. Whether it was in the game or in real life, they were completely wiped out. However, Yi Chen didn't seem to be affected by the complete death of these people. The Godslayer in his right hand was still mercilessly harvesting the lives of the players around him. Those who dared to come here had to be prepared to die. Yi Chen never showed mercy to his enemies. At this moment, the Samsara Legion had also charged into the crowd. They pointed their spears and mercilessly stabbed forward. They didn't stop after one attack. However, even so, the players were killed in droves. Their bodies were pierced through, and some were even sent flying by the Samsara Legion's spears. The power of a cavalry charge wasn't something that could be stopped by human strength. Moreover, Yi Chen was leading the way in front. The Samsara Legion's charging speed wasn't affected at all. Get the F***CK out of the way. Get out of the way. F***CK. Die for me. Poochie, Poochie. The players started to wave their weapons and slashed at the players who were blocking them from leaving. The players who were in front of Yi Chen and couldn't leave went crazy. It was fine if they were killed by the Samsara Legion, as they could be revived after death. However, if they were killed by Yi Chen, their equipment would be destroyed. It wasn't worth it at all. They hadn't even gotten the gold mine yet. Yi Chen looked at the players who were killing each other and smiled coldly. He continued to swing the Godslayer in his hand violently. Wave after wave of players were instantly killed, their bodies exploding into countless pieces. Fresh blood dyed the golden horse's fur and Yi Chen's robe red. Rumble! The war horses were galloping and the weapons were whistling. Screams, screams, and curses were heard continuously. After 10 minutes, Yi Chen led the Samsara Legion to a kilometer away from the west gate of Yangla County. Then, they turned southwest. There were countless crazy players who were charging towards Zhao Meng's loot. Yi Chen returned from the north and deliberately avoided a few counties. However, there were too many players in Yangla County. Even though he was far away from Yangla County, he was still discovered by the players in the west of Yangla County. Otherwise, Yi Chen would have led his troops into the reincarnation forest in no time. Looking at the endless crazy players, Yi Chen smiled coldly. Then, he raised the Godslayer and shouted, "White Tiger Battle Formation! Kill! Kill! Kill!" The Samsara Legion roared in unison. An intense murderous aura appeared instantly and gathered in the sky. In the blink of an eye, a huge white tiger appeared in the sky. Roar! An earth-shattering roar resounded through the earth. An extremely brutal murderous aura suddenly erupted from the white tiger. It became more and more intense. It made people feel cold all over. Even their souls started to tremble. As the huge white tiger appeared in the sky, the players' expressions changed. They all shuddered in unison. A person's name was like a tree's shadow. The ferocity of the white tiger had spread throughout the world. Everyone knew about it. No one was not afraid. No one was not terrified. It was fine if they fainted, but if they turned into idiots, they would rather die. However, the huge gold mine that everyone was envious of was ostentatious. No one was not tempted. No one was not envious. Therefore, many people made the crazy decision to come here and gamble. If they succeeded, they would be rich. If they failed, they would be unconscious for 3 days. If they were unlucky, they would become idiot. However, when they faced the white tiger, they were horrified to find that they were still so afraid and terrified. They did not think that they would be the unlucky ones. However, when it came to it, they were all worried. What if they were really unlucky? White tiger battle formation. It's the white tiger battle formation. Yi Chen is going to use the white tiger battle formation. A scream came from the players who were chasing after Zhao Meng. Damn it, why isn't there a limit to this skill? F***CK. Let's run. Damn it, if we get killed by the white tiger battle formation, we'll either be unconscious for 3 days or become idiots. It's okay. Yi Chen is still a few miles away. He's only 2,000 meters away. There's still a chance. We can catch up and snatch a pillar. We'll have everything. Chapter 246. F***CK. How far can a few miles be? F***CK. He'll be here in 5 or 6 tries. F***CK. What do we do? Are we just going to give up? Let's fight. As long as we reach the cavalry before Yi Chen reaches us, we'll be safe. Unless Yi Chen doesn't want his troops anymore, he won't use the white tiger formation against us. Right. Rush to the cavalry and go inside. There's a group of war horses inside, so we don't have to be afraid of the white tiger formation. Yi Chen is a lord, so he won't kill his troops and war horses. What if Yi Chen is ruthless and doesn't want his troops or war horses just to kill us? What should we do? Then he'll be awesome. Stop wasting time. Hurry up and do it. If you have bows and arrows, take them out. Yi Chen's troops are all silver grade, so they won't die easily, but they can be crippled. Cripple Yi Chen's troop. Otherwise, we won't have a good time. Right, hurry up and shoot. Cripple them. While the players on the southwest side were discussing, the 30,000 Samsara soldiers in charge of bringing up the rear raised their bows and fired at the players. Whoosh, 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 the sound of air being pierced instantly rang out. At the same time, the giant white tiger in the sky landed and enveloped Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion. In the next second, the white tiger leaped and turned into a streak of light, charging toward the southwest. The moment the white tiger appeared, the players who were close to Yi Chen fled in all directions in fright. No one wanted their equipment to turn to dust, no one wanted to be unconscious for 3 days, and no one wanted to become an idiot. However, even though the outskirts of Yangla County were empty, more and more people were rushing out. Even if they wanted to hide, where could they hide? Bang, 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 a series of explosions instantly rang out. An 800-meter wide and 8,000-meter long blood mist zone instantly appeared. All the players in this area, without exception, were turned into a bloody mist that filled the sky. Looking at the long road filled with blood mist, the players were all stunned. Didn't you say 2,000 meters? Is this really 2,000 meters? Damn it, the white tiger battle formation. The white tiger battle formation's power has increased again. Damn it, I wonder how many people have become idiots this time, how many people have fainted. F***CK. I shouldn't have come. I don't want anything, I want to go back. As the players discussed, the white tiger didn't stop. The moment it appeared, it turned into a stream of light and rushed towards the southwest. Zhao Meng and his party were in charge of the 30,000 Samsara soldiers. The arrows that had just been shot by the 30,000 Samsara soldiers began to fall to the ground. Poochie, poochie, poochie. The sound of arrows hitting the body rang out one after another. The players who had been prepared to make a gamble instantly fell to the ground. However, there were too many players. The positions of the dead players were instantly replaced by others. At this time, there were already countless people running and shooting arrows. Whoosh, whoosh. Arrows rained down on the 30,000 Samsara soldiers who were escorting the rear. Use the spear. Someone suddenly shouted. Zhao Meng had rushed over. Following Zhao Meng's shout, the 30,000 Samsara soldiers took out their spears and began to brandish them. After experiencing a great battle, they were no longer the noobs of the past. What they needed to protect were their heads and their horses. As for the rest of their bodies, they didn't even need to block. This was because they were all wearing silver equipment. They weren't afraid of ordinary arrows at all. Ding, ding, dang, dang. The arrows landed on the armor of the Samsara soldiers and were instantly deflected. Bang, bang, bang. The arrows were deflected by the Samsara soldiers' spears. However, the 30,000 Samsara soldiers were still a bit insignificant in the face of the rain of arrows. Even though no one was shot to death, there were still people who were shot in the arms or legs. There were also people who were shot on their horses. Arrows pierced through flesh. How could it not hurt? How could it not feel uncomfortable? However, no one cried out in pain. No one screamed. There wasn't the slightest bit of chaos in the formation. Even if the Samsara soldiers were shot and their horses were shot, they didn't panic in the slightest. Not only did they not panic, they didn't scream. They even tried their best to calm their horses and prevent them from running wildly in fear. This was what made the Samsara soldiers different from the rest. They were fearless and had an iron will. Even if it was a mountain of blades or a sea of flames, they wouldn't be afraid. This was because they were Samsara's soldiers and Yi Chen's soldiers. Continue shooting. Hurry! The opportunity is right in front of us. Right in front of us, my ass. Yi Chen is coming. Hurry and run. A frightened scream suddenly rang out. F***ck. How is he so fast? A person turned his head to look. His pupils shrank as he yelled in shock. F***ck, I miscalculated. This is going to be bad. F***ck. I shouldn't have come. I really shouldn't have come. Following the fearful and regretful discussions of the players, a ray of light instantly pierced through the army of players chasing after Zhao Meng. Bang, 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 bang. A series of body explosions instantly rang out. Behind the white tiger, a full 32,000 meters of bloody mist appeared in front of everyone's eyes. The thick stench of blood began to waft through the air, stimulating the nerves of more and more players. An atmosphere of panic began to appear. More and more players revealed looks of fear and regret. Greetings, my lord. Zhao Meng and the Samsara soldiers in charge of the retreating Samsara soldiers were overjoyed when they saw the white tiger. Many of them had injuries on their bodies, but they still bowed. Even if their wounds were touched and they were in so much pain that they broke out in a cold sweat, no one cried out or even gasped. At this moment, the white tiger disappeared. Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion appeared in its place. Seeing the performance of the Samsara soldiers, Yi Chen's heart tightened. Killing intent instantly rose to the heavens. They still aren't fierce enough. They still aren't strong enough. Otherwise, these trash wouldn't have dared to target me. Thinking to this point, Yi Chen looked at Zhao Meng and said in a deep voice, Replace them. Replace them and return to Samsara City as soon as possible. Yes, my lord. My lord. Zhao Meng bowed deeply and replied, My lord. We can still fight. A loud shout suddenly came from the mouth of a Samsara 1,000-man commander. In the next second, the 30,000 Samsara soldiers in charge of the retreating Samsara soldiers raised their spears and shouted, Fight! 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 This is a military order. You've already done enough. Yi Chen shouted in a deep voice. How could Yi Chen not understand what the Samsara soldiers in charge of the retreating Samsara soldiers were thinking? They wanted to continue fighting for their lord and ensure that the spoils of war from the northern expedition to Samsara City safely returned to Samsara City. They were loyal and weren't afraid of death. Yi Chen understood this clearly. But Yi Chen didn't want them to lose their lives for the spoils of war. Moreover, Yi Chen was confident that he could stop the players from robbing them. This was also the reason why Yi Chen had ordered Zhao Meng to escort the spoils of war back to Samsara City, while he stayed behind to intercept them. Because if he brought all of the Samsara soldiers with him and stayed behind to defend, he would be at a disadvantage. Moreover, it would be easier for the spoils of war to be stolen. Yes, my lord. The Samsara soldiers all looked at each other and then replied in unison. Yi Chen nodded. Then, he turned around and looked at the dense crowd of players. The brutal killing intent in his eyes was cold and merciless. In an instant, countless players began to retreat in fear. Chapter 247. Yi Chen. Boss Yi Chen. I was wrong. I shouldn't have been blinded by greed. I'll leave now. Let me go. I was wrong. Boss Yi Chen, I'll leave now. Boss Yi Chen, this is a misunderstanding. I'm just here to take a look. Really. The players near Yi Chen were frightened by Yi Chen's gaze. They hurriedly apologized. They were afraid that their equipment would be destroyed by the Godslayer. They were afraid that they would be unconscious for 3 days. They were even more afraid that they would turn into idiot. However, what they didn't know was that tens of thousands of players who came to Yangla County to rob would never be able to log into the game. This was because they were completely dead in the real world. Yi Chen smiled coldly and shouted, "White Tiger Battle Formation! White Tiger Battle Formation! Kill! Kill! Kill!" Deafening shouts could be heard. In the next second, an intense murderous aura appeared above the Samsara Legion and condensed. Roar. After the deafening roar, a huge white tiger appeared in the sky and landed on the ground. It enveloped Yi Chen and the Samsara Legion. A brutal, ruthless, and murderous aura appeared on the white tiger. Don't, Boss Yi Chen. I'll leave now. Let me go. Boss Yi Chen. I'll help you. I'll really help you. I'll kill them right now. The players were panicking. However, at this moment, the white tiger leaped and turned into a stream of light. It disappeared in a flash. Boom, boom, boom. A series of explosions could be heard. The bloody fog of 8,000 meters appeared once again. The stream of light disappeared and the white tiger appeared. It leaped again and turned into a stream of light. It disappeared in a flash. Boom, 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 boom. On the battlefield, the stream of light dashed left and right. In a few breaths' time, it cleared all the players who tried to get close to Zhao Meng. The ferocity of the White Tiger battle formation once again frightened countless players. In less than 10 minutes, Yi Chen had killed millions of players. This was 2F** King Brutal. There were a lot of players charging at them. If they were fearless, even Yi Chen would have no choice but to continue killing them. However, they didn't because they knew that if they were killed by Yi Chen, they would suffer a great loss. That was why they were scared. Without exception, they all stopped moving, cowering in fear. Previously, the huge benefits had blinded their eyes. Everyone had come here with the mentality of taking a gamble. They wanted to rely on their numbers to find an opportunity to snatch Yi Chen once. It didn't matter if they were killed afterwards, since they had managed to snatch him anyway. But now, the cruel reality had taught them one thing. If they wanted to rob Yi Chen, it was useless to rely on numbers alone. They had to work together. If they really wanted to succeed in their robbery, they would have to use the lives of their men to deplete the number of attacks of the White Tiger battle formation. Then, they would have to rely on their numbers to snatch away Yi Chen's spoils of war. Many people knew this, but they also knew that no one was willing to sacrifice their own interests for others. Because the sacrifice was too great, not only would their equipment be destroyed by Yi Chen's Godslayer, but they would also be unconscious for 3 days, or even become mentally retarded. That was why after the players were killed by Yi Chen's White Tiger battle formation, more and more people showed expressions of regret. Of course, there were also people who were unwilling to give up, and there were also many who were unwilling to give up. Don't be afraid. Go. The white tiger battle formation has been used more than a dozen times. Another 7 or 8 times should be enough. Go together. Yes. Don't be afraid. Go. Even if you get killed, you won't be unconscious so easily. Come back immediately after you revive. There are so many warhorses here, so many chests filled with gold and silver, gold pillars and purple pillars. If you snatch any one of them, not only will you recoup your losses, but you will also make a huge profit. Yes, what's there to be afraid of? Yi Chen isn't a god. This is a rare opportunity. You have to consider carefully. Yi Chen might not be able to obtain so many spoils of war next time. If the spoils of war are too little, he can keep them in his storage space. There are too many things this time, so he had to transport them here. Yes, this opportunity will not come again. Everyone, go! The unwilling players in the crowd were shouting and jeering one after another. However, no matter how much they encouraged and egged them on, no one acted. At this moment, many people recognized the reality of Yi Chen's killing. There were too many trash people in this world. Why did they believe in evil? Yi Chen was so domineering. He was the #1 person in the human race. He had a huge influence and countless elite soldiers under his command. Even if they really managed to snatch the money, what could they do? If Yi Chen was ruthless and made up his mind to hunt them down, he could casually promise something. Countless people would definitely cause trouble for them. At that time, they would definitely be hunted down by countless people all over the world. How were they going to play then? Were they really going to hide in some corner? How were they going to become stronger then? The outside world was so dangerous. How were they going to survive if they were not strong enough? The safe city that they thought would always be safe was about to lose its safety. This was because the safe city's protective shield was starting to weaken. Who knew how long it could last? Moreover, if they wanted to successfully rob Yi Chen, not only did they have to use the human wave tactic, they also had to take the initiative to attack Yi Chen. If they really attacked Yi Chen, they would be caught and sent to prison. This was because Yi Chen was the general who pacifies the north of the Great Han Empire. Attacking Yi Chen was equivalent to rebelling. That was punishable by death. The players who had attacked Yi Chen's subordinates had a good idea. If they succeeded in the robbery, they would escape and wait for the world to fall into chaos before coming out. However, reality was cruel. After they revived, they would all be caught and executed. Their levels would be reset to 0. The players who had started to retreat looked at each other. Then, they all turned around and ran. They had no choice but to run. No one was willing to be a fool and use their lives to reduce the number of attacks of the White Tiger battle formation. As for the players who had instigated them, they were all killed. They did not care if they died or not. However, if they did not kill them, they would not be satisfied. It was all because of these bastards who had instigated them that they had to run here to rob Yi Chen. If not for the fact that they were worried that Yi Chen would use the White Tiger battle formation again, they would have definitely chopped these instigated players into minced meat. F***ck. The slogans were loud and clear. Those who really rushed forward were mostly those who did not shout slogans. Yi Chen looked at the chaos among the players in front of him and smiled coldly. Humans were all selfish. After the meteor fell, the despicable nature of human nature was magnified. In the game, players could revive after dying. Moreover, the losses were not great. This was the reason why players were so unrestrained. If not for Yi Chen's terrifying methods, none of these people would have run. Seeing the players killing each other and running for their lives, Yi Chen raised the Godslayer in his right hand and shouted, "Charge! Kill! Kill! Kill!" Deafening shouts sounded. The Samsara Legion followed Yi Chen and charged. Rumble! 10,000 horses galloped and the earth shook. The tyrannical cavalry charge was once again performed. Chapter 248. When the players saw Yi Chen begin his charge, those who were close were shocked, while those who were far away were secretly relieved. Those who were close were afraid of being killed, while those who were far away were not worried about being killed immediately. This was because it was a cavalry charge, not the White Tiger formation. More and more players were retreating, while those who were unwilling to give up were still hesitating. However, at this moment, the World Channel, which had been silent for a long time, suddenly began to flood the screen. F***CK. Great discovery. The people who were killed by Yi Chen are also dead in real life. How is that possible? Aren't they unconscious? At most, they'll become idiots? How did they die? It's true. I'm in XX safe city. Someone next door tried to rob Yi Chen, but he suddenly went offline. I ran over to take a look, but in the end, F***CK, he died. This should be a F***king accident, right? Dying of old age, illness, and death. It's just a special case. Special case my ass. I'm in XX safe city. The evil wolf gang in this city all tried to rob Yi Chen, but they were all killed by Yi Chen and went offline. Now, there's only one person left in the evil wolf gang. No, he's also dead. He was killed by someone else. Me too. There's someone who lives with me. I tried to persuade him, but he wouldn't listen. He insisted on robbing Yi Chen. In the end, after he was killed by Yi Chen in-game, he also died in real life. Messages of being killed by Yi Chen in the game and dying in real life flooded the screen one after another. Soon, the World Channel exploded. F***CK. F***CK. Does he have to be so sick? Dying in-game and dying in real life? Who the F***CK dares to go against Yi Chen? No wonder Yi Chen said that if you're not afraid of death, come at me. F***CK, so that's what he meant. Yi Chen is too cruel. How many F***king people did he kill? It doesn't matter how many people died. What's important is that being killed in-game and dying in real life. This is too F***king terrifying. From now on, the only ones who can go against Yi Chen are those Lord-ranked players. They have troops, so they aren't afraid. How are we going to survive? You idiot. When has Yi Chen ever taken the initiative to bully others? It's all because those idiots were jealous and went to rob Boss Yi Chen. Who can be blamed for that? I'm sure that no matter how awesome Boss Yi Chen is, he wouldn't bully others. He's completely different from those feudal lords and faction leaders. What you said makes a lot of sense. F***CK. Every time Yi Chen kills someone, it seems like those people were greedy and attacked Yi Chen. That's why they were killed by Yi Chen. That's what I mean. It doesn't matter if we're individual players. Anyway, as long as we don't provoke Yi Chen, Boss Yi Chen won't care about us. Boss Yi Chen, I admire you so much. Please accept me as your underling. I'm not asking for Yi Chen's guidance. I just hope that Boss Yi Chen will allow me to follow you and help you do things. I swear that I'll be 100% loyal. Yangla County, west of the city. The players who were running for their lives and those who were hesitating all saw the content on the World Channel. When they saw that they would die in real life after being killed by Yi Chen in-game, they were all shocked. F***CK, they were here to play the game, not to die. No one wanted to die. No one was willing to die. After a short moment of breathing, even those who were hesitant began to run madly towards Yangla County with all their might. They came quickly, but now that they wanted to go back, they realized that the road was so F***king long. Rumble. 10,000 horses galloped and the earth trembled. Yi Chen led the Samsara Legion and charged forward. Groups of players were killed instantly. They were afraid before, but now they were terrified. Boss Yi Chen. Spare me. Spare me. I won't dare to do it again. I won't dare to do it again. Spare me, I beg you. Boss Yi Chen, don't kill me. I was possessed. I'll give you all my money and equipment. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Spare me. Spare me, spare me. Boss Yi Chen, I'll leave. I'll leave immediately. The players near Yi Chen were crying and begging for mercy. Unfortunately, Yi Chen didn't slow down at all. The God Slayer was still mercilessly reaping the lives of the players in front of him. The black light on the tip of the spear lit up again and again. The players didn't notice anything strange before. Now that they knew that if they died in the game, they would die in real life too. When they saw the black light, they all thought of the reason for their death. However, it was useless. Instead, it made them even more afraid. Screams, screams, and pleas for mercy were constantly heard. The ground was dyed red with blood. The number of corpses on the ground was increasing. Time slowly passed. When Yi Chen stopped, there wasn't a single player to be seen in the west of Yangla County. There were only corpses scattered all over the ground. Glancing at Yangla County, Yi Chen smiled coldly. Then, he turned around and led the Samsara Legion back to the reincarnation forest. Yi Chen's killing spree this time had left a shadow in the hearts of all the players. This was because the people who were killed by Yi Chen would most likely die in the real world. They would die completely. There was no one who wasn't afraid, no one who wasn't terrified. If they could live, who would want to die? Yi Chen didn't show any mercy. First, it was because these people had their eyes on him. Second, it was because he wanted to intimidate all the players. If they wanted to cause trouble, they had to think about it first. Were they afraid of death? After this, 99% of the players didn't dare to have any ideas about Yi Chen or Reincarnation City. If they died in the game, they would die in real life. This was enough to intimidate 99% of the players. However, the major forces that had appeared in the beginning and didn't show up later on, as well as those who had obtained the game capsules and watched Pan Gu split open the sky at the beginning of the game, they were special. Although they weren't as strong as Yi Chen, they still had a lot of power in the game. Because of Yi Chen's suppression, the major forces and those who watched Pan Gu split open the sky didn't show up from the beginning until now. This was because they didn't have the power and influence to match Yi Chen. Once they reached the same level as Yi Chen, or were not much weaker than Reincarnation City, they would show their fangs. In Yi Chen's previous life, only the Sanctuary Town and the Yen Wang Alliance appeared at this moment. As for the Beauty Town, it didn't disappear because of Yi Chen. Otherwise, all the women in the Beauty Alliance would have been killed by young Master Niu. As for the Yen Wang Alliance, it had been disbanded by Yi Chen and swallowed up by other forces. The only powerful person was Commander Niu. Before he could rise, he was killed by Yi Chen. Those powerful people who hadn't shown up in Yi Chen's previous life were either cultivating in secret realms or hunting bosses and looking for elixirs. Those top forces who hadn't shown up in Yi Chen's previous life were quietly developing their territories. Whether it was those people or those forces, they were all accumulating power with the same goal. They were preparing for the Day of Chaos. After the Jinjin Rebellion and Dong Da's Rebellion, there would be no restrictions in the game world. Whoever was powerful would have everything. There were many people who knew about history. Even if they didn't, they had been taught many times by the TV dramas and movies before the meteor fell. If you wanted to get good things in the game, you had to wait until the historical storyline started. All the hidden individuals and forces were preparing for that moment. Chapter 249. In Samsara Forest, Yi Chen led the Samsara Legion and quickly caught up to Zhao Meng's group. "My lord, it's my lord!" A Samsara soldier, upon discovering that it was Yi Chen, immediately shouted in joy. "Greetings, my lord!" The Samsara soldiers bowed one after another. Their voices were filled with excitement and excitement. Yi Chen had personally led his troops to stop the players. And now, Yi Chen had returned with a calm expression on his face. This undoubtedly told the soldiers one thing. The players who had come to rob them had been dealt with. Their lord Yi Chen had created another miracle. After learning that Yi Chen had caught up, Zhao Meng hastily turned his horse around and welcomed Yi Chen. When he arrived in front of Yi Chen, Zhao Meng dismounted from his horse and bowed. "Greetings, my lord." Yi Chen chuckled and nodded his head. Then, he asked, was there anyone following us? "Milord, there were a few small fries, but we've already killed them. I've also sent out 10 teams of 100 men to patrol Samsara Forest to prevent any small fries from following us." Zhao Meng hastily replied after hearing Yi Chen's question. When Yi Chen heard this, his eyes narrowed. It seemed like there were still people who hadn't given up, who knew if they were people sent by those hidden powers, their goal was probably to confirm Samsara City's exact location. Thinking to this point, Yi Chen coldly smiled. Samsara City was no longer the Samsara village of the past. It had a strong foundation. Even if they didn't send people to follow them, they would quickly find out where Samsara City was. This was because Yi Chen had already ordered for roads to be built in Samsara Forest in order to quickly dispatch troops in the future. And once the roads were built, people would quickly discover them. It would be difficult to not find Samsara City if they followed the road. However, at the entrance to Samsara Valley, Yi Chen ordered for the massive walls to be built. These walls would definitely shock everyone. Fuck, why did the walls have to be so tall? When the Golden Turban Rebellion began, all sorts of monsters jumped out. When the Dongda Rebellion began, there were no rules in the game world. I have to pick up the pace. Thinking of this, Yi Chen looked at Zhao Meng and said, "Let's go." "Yes, my lord." Zhao Meng bowed and replied. Then, he mounted his horse and led the Samsara soldiers forward. Yi Chen walked past the Samsara army that was escorting the trophies to Samsara City. At this moment, Yi Chen no longer needed to hold the line at the back. This was because the individual players were already scared of Yi Chen. No one dared to join in the fun and wait for an opportunity to snatch the spoils of war. They were afraid of death. They were afraid that if they were killed by Yi Chen in the game, they would also die in the real world. After walking for an hour, 100-meter-wide path appeared in front of them. It was paved with thick stone slabs. A group of dispirited Wuhuan slaves were busy moving stone slabs, paving the road, and repairing it. Some Wuhuan supervisors with whips in their hands would wave their whips from time to time and curse the Wuhuan slaves for not working hard enough. In the distance, fully armed Samsara City soldiers were guarding all the Wuhuan slaves. When the Samsara soldiers saw Yi Chen arrive, they were all stunned. They didn't expect Yi Chen to return so quickly. After coming back to their senses, the Samsara soldiers hurriedly stepped forward and bowed. "Greetings, my lord." The Wuhuan slaves, whether they were workers or supervisors, also noticed Yi Chen's arrival. They hurriedly knelt on the ground with their hands on the ground. Their heads were so low that they almost touched the ground. This was their way of expressing their allegiance to him. In fact, not only did they submit, but they were also scared to death. They had never met a great Han general as powerful, domineering, and invincible as Yi Chen. For them, only the strong were worthy of respect, and Yi Chen was clearly a peerless expert in their hearts. This was the fundamental reason why no one had betrayed them ever since they became captives. Because no one dared to. If they knew that the Wuhuan tribe had been uprooted by Yi Chen, they would not have the slightest hatred. Instead, they would respect Yi Chen more and fear Yi Chen more. They would regard Yi Chen as a god. This was the characteristic of most of the alien races. Yi Chen nodded with a smile and then asked, "Did any slaves escape?" "My lord, no slaves escaped. They didn't dare." A centurion hurriedly bowed and explained. Yi Chen nodded and then said, "Very good. Rewards and punishments should be moderate. Slaves who work hard to atone for their sins can be rewarded." As soon as Yi Chen finished speaking, the Wuhuan slaves were stunned and then overjoyed. They kowtowed and shouted loudly, "Thank you, my kind master! Thank you, my kind master!" "Yes, my lord!" The centurion was stunned for a moment and then bowed. He did not expect that the Wuhuan slaves would be so excited because of Yi Chen's verbal reward. In reality, this was also Yi Chen's strategy. Give a carrot after a stick. If he kept waving the stick, how could others work? Of course, if someone else said this, the effect would definitely not be as good as Yi Chen's. Because the person that the Wuhuan slaves were most afraid of was Yi Chen. Yi Chen smiled and then said, "Well, tell them to continue working and repair the road leading to the outside of the reincarnation forest as soon as possible." "Yes, my lord." Hearing this, the centurion hurriedly bowed and responded. Yi Chen rode his horse onto the stone road. Tut tut tut, tut tut tut, the sound of the horse's hooves was particularly crisp. Looking at the stone road that was 100 meters wide, Yi Chen could not help but smile. Then he squeezed the horse's belly with his feet. Neigh! A thunderous neigh sounded in an instant. The golden Pegasus, Little Gold, immediately let go of its hooves and rushed forward. In the blink of an eye, 10 phantoms appeared behind it. The Samsara Legion also stepped onto the stone road and then followed Yi Chen to the reincarnation city. Tut tut tut, thousands of horses galloped, and the dense and crisp sound of hooves sounded. At the entrance of the reincarnation valley, before Yi Chen arrived, he could already see the incomparably tall city walls that had already been completed in the distance. The city wall and the mountain walls on both sides were 3,000 meters long and 100 meters high. Looking at it from afar, it gave off a grand and majestic feeling. Looking at the huge city wall, Yi Chen could not help but smile. After the Golden Turban Rebellion, the city wall was enough to blind countless people, including the Demon Clan. However, the Demon Clan had birds, and the city wall could not stop them. However, when all the diamond-level equipment was produced, there was nothing to worry about even if the birds of the Demon Clan came. Thinking of this, Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and said, "Little Gold, speed up." "Nay." The Pegasus, Little Gold, snorted and then sped up again. After 10 minutes, Yi Chen arrived at the city wall. When the reincarnation soldiers guarding the city gate saw Yi Chen arrive, they all knelt on one knee and said loudly, "Greetings, Lord." Chapter 250. Yi Chen nodded with a smile as he looked at the Samsara soldiers who bowed to him. Then, he rode his horse forward. After passing through the city gate and entering the reincarnation valley, Yi Chen saw a boundless field in front of him. In the distance there was a forest that had not been cut down. The towering trees were lush and green. As he rode on, he passed through the forest and saw the huge and majestic Samsara city. Outside the city there were countless Samsara citizens. At this moment, a tsunami of cheers sounded. "Welcome back, Your Excellency! Welcome back, Your Excellency! Welcome back, Your Excellency!" The wounded soldiers who had returned to Samsara city first spread the news of Yi Chen's victory. The citizens of Samsara city ran out of their own accord to welcome Yi Chen. The citizens of Samsara city shouted again and again. Their shouts were filled with joy and excitement, as well as deep pride. They were happy for Yi Chen's victory over Wu Huan. They were excited for Yi Chen's return. They were proud to be a member of the Samsara Palace. "Welcome back, Your Excellency." Kai Yin, who was in the front row of the crowd, bowed with a smile. "Welcome back, Your Excellency." Zhao Heng, Mi Zhu, and Dian Xiong also bowed with excitement. Yi Chen nodded with a smile. Then, he looked at the citizens of Samsara city and shouted, "From now on, Samsara city will celebrate for 3 days. All expenses are waived." Wow! The citizens of Samsara city were instantly excited. "Thank you, Your Excellency! Thank you, Your Excellency! Long live Your Excellency!" Yi Chen nodded with a smile. Then, he looked at Kai Yin, Dian Xiong, Mi Zhu, and Zhao Heng and said, "Let's go back to the city." "Yes, Your Excellency." "My lord." Everyone bowed and followed Yi Chen back to the Samsara city. In the front hall of the governor's mansion, after Yi Chen sat down, he looked at Kai Yin and asked with a smile, "Father-in-law, have you started teaching?" When Kai Yin heard Yi Chen's question, he hurriedly bowed and said, "My lord, I have officially started teaching yesterday. However, the children in Samsara city are of different ages, and there are so many of them that it is difficult for me to take care of them all. Therefore, I beg you to recruit more literati to teach in Samsara city. Yi Chen's eyes lit up when he heard this. He then asked, scholars must be accepted. However, father-in-law, do you have a better candidate? Kai Yin smiled and said, your humble servant knows some people who are idle at home. I have already sent a letter to them. I believe there will be news in a few days. Good. Good. The more the merrier. Yi Chen laughed loudly when he heard this. Then, he looked at Mi Zhu and asked, how's the progress of 100 Flowers Wine? My lord, 100 Flowers Wine has signed agreements with 121 rich businessmen. Apart from gems and crystals, we have gathered enough high-quality resources for the construction of the Bronze Sparrow Pavilion. Mi Zhu hurriedly bowed and said when he heard Yi Chen's question, good. We have brought back enough gems and crystals this time. From now on, we will build the Bronze Sparrow Pavilion in the backyard of the governor's mansion. Yi Chen opened his eyes and shouted. Although the construction of the Copper Sparrow Pavilion required a lot of resources, and all of them were of high quality, Yi Chen had made up his mind to construct the Copper Sparrow Pavilion the moment he obtained the blueprint. The Bronze Sparrow Pavilion was extremely useful. It was not only useful in the beginner's area of the Three Kingdoms, but also in untainted land. Now that all the materials were ready, Yi Chen naturally did not want to wait any longer. However, although the Bronze Sparrow Pavilion could be built, Yi Chen only had 4 beauties. If he wanted to make full use of the Bronze Sparrow Pavilion, Yi Chen would have to work harder. Of course, even if there were only 4 beauties, the first special property of the Bronze Sparrow Pavilion, singing and dancing for peace, could be used as soon as the Bronze Sparrow Pavilion was built. Special properties. 1. Singing and dancing for peace greatly increase the popularity of the people and increase the spawn rate of refugees. Once a month, effective for 3 days. 4 beauties required. Yi Chen wanted to conquer the world and ascend the country. Soon, he would build subsidiary territories everywhere. To Yi Chen, the more the merrier. Mi Zhu hurriedly bowed and replied, yes, my lord. The Reincarnation City was built with a god-level village creation token and occupied a large area. The governor's mansion was also very large. It was more than enough to build the Bronze Sparrow Pavilion in the backyard. Yi Chen nodded and looked at Zhao Heng. He asked, I plan to build 2 subsidiary villages in the Reincarnation Forest and develop them into cities as soon as possible. Do you have any suitable candidates? Zhao Heng had followed Yi Chen since the beginning of the Reincarnation Village. He knew the people in the Reincarnation City the best. That was why Yi Chen asked Zhao Heng. My lord, the Reincarnation City has been filled with talents recently. There are many suitable candidates. However, I am willing to vouch for one person. Zhao Heng was overjoyed when he heard that Yi Chen wanted to build subsidiary villages. He bowed and said, the Reincarnation City could have built subsidiary villages when it was still in Reincarnation Town. However, Yi Chen did not choose to build subsidiary villages because of the terrain and secrecy. Now that the Reincarnation City was about to remove the mysterious veil, it was natural to start building subsidiary villages. Yi Chen was stunned when he heard that Zhao Heng did not directly mention the candidate. He asked in surprise, who is it? My lord, this person is Huang Ying. He is from Baishui Mianan Jingzhou. He is only 16 years old, but he is so talented that I am ashamed of myself. Zhao Heng said with a sigh. Huang Ying, amazingly talented, 16 years old. Was there such a person in the Three Kingdoms? Could he be a hidden character? Thinking of this, Yi Chen nodded and said, invite him over. I want to see him. Yes, my lord. I will invite him over now. Zhao Heng hurriedly bowed and left the living room to find Huang Ying. Yi Chen tried to recall the memories of his previous life. Unfortunately, he could not remember anything about Huang Ying. Yi Chen could not think of anything. He did not want to think about it. Huang Ying was not a historical figure. It was fine if he was talented. He was just a village chief. As long as he could develop the village quickly, he would be a good subordinate. Thinking of this, Yi Chen looked at Dian Xiong and asked with a smile, "Dian Xiong, how was the soldier selected?" When Dian Xiong heard Yi Chen's question, he hurriedly bowed and said, "Reporting to Milord, although the aptitude of those soldiers is a little lacking, they are all very hard-working. No matter how hard and tiring the training is, no one complains. On the contrary, many of them often train more. If this general had not discovered it early, these people would have definitely trained until their bodies were broken." When Yi Chen heard this, he could not help but be surprised. Then he realized why the 100,000 soldiers selected from rank B had trained so hard. They also wanted to become official samsara soldiers, soldiers who would follow Yi Chen into battle to kill the enemy. Otherwise, they would not have trained so hard. Chapter 251. Yi Chen was silent for a moment. Then he looked at Dian Xiong and said, "Observe carefully and record those who are determined. I will give them a chance when the time comes." The chance that Yi Chen was talking about was the upcoming Golden Turban Rebellion. At that time, Yi Chen would bring these people to the battlefield to kill the enemy. How much credit they could get would depend on their own abilities. Of course, the greater the credit, the higher the reward that Yi Chen would give them. Yi Chen only gave them a chance to change their current situation and continue to improve. They were willing to be soldiers and follow Yi Chen to the battlefield. For Yi Chen, it was not impossible for such subordinates to be soldiers even if their aptitudes were not good. Because at this moment, Samsara City had strong soldiers and strong horses. It was not as weak as it used to be. Samsara City did not have to worry about combat strength at all. Bringing some level B soldiers to the battlefield would not affect the overall situation. Of course, even a B-grade soldier was much more powerful than the other lords. The other lords were at most level C soldiers. There were very few level B soldiers. Most of them were level D or even level F. Even if the other lords were all level C soldiers, Yi Chen would not bring as many level B soldiers to defend the city. Because Yi Chen had an official position, but others did not. No matter which lord it was, as long as they dared to use their soldiers, the imperial court would kill them. This was one of the reasons why Yi Chen chose those determined level B soldiers to go to the battlefield. Moreover, aptitudes could be improved. There were innate aptitudes and acquired aptitude. Innate aptitudes could not be changed, but acquired aptitudes could be changed. On the battlefield, if one fought hard to kill the enemy and kept improving his level, his aptitudes would also be improved. Of course, aptitudes could be changed, but it was difficult to change one's foundation. "Yes, Lord." Dian Xiong's eyes lit up when he heard this. Then he replied loudly. Although Dian Xiong was not good at leading troops, he knew how to train them. Although it was not long, Dian Xiong still hoped that these soldiers could become soldiers who would go to the battlefield to kill the enemy. Of course, if those soldiers didn't have the determination to fight to the death, Dian Xiong wouldn't sympathize with them, even if they were born poor like Dian Xiong. Only the soldiers who wholeheartedly followed Yi Chen into battle were the best samsara soldiers in Dian Xiong's heart. Yi Chen smiled and nodded. At this moment, Zhao Heng and a thin man walked in. "My lord, this is Huang Ying that I mentioned." Zhao Heng came to the hall, glanced at the man, and then bowed. "Huang Ying greets the overlord." Huang Ying glanced at Yi Chen and bowed. The moment Yi Chen saw Huang Ying, he couldn't help but be stunned. Then, he looked at Huang Ying from head to toe a few times. He had yellow hair and dark skin. His appearance was a little ugly, and his voice was a little crisp, like a teenager who hadn't changed his voice. But no matter how Yi Chen looked at it, he found it a little strange. And because of Yi Chen's gaze, Huang Ying's body couldn't help but twitch. He was clearly a little uncomfortable. "My lord!" Zhao Heng saw Yi Chen staring at Huang Ying and couldn't help but be surprised. Then, he asked in confusion. Hearing Zhao Heng's question, Yi Chen came back to his senses. He smiled and said, I remembered something. After Yi Chen finished speaking, he looked at Huang Ying and said, Huang Ying, you're from Miannan in Jing Province? My lord, this commoner's ancestral home is Miannan in Jing Province. Huang Ying heard Yi Chen's question and bowed again. At this moment, Yi Chen's eyes suddenly widened. When Huang Ying bowed, a trace of white skin could be seen below his neck. It was completely different from the dark skin on his face and neck. Although the white skin was instantly hidden by his clothes, Yi Chen still noticed it. Indeed, something wasn't right. Thinking of this, Yi Chen looked at Huang Ying again. After a few breaths, Yi Chen smirked. He then looked at Kai Yin, Mizhu, Dian Xiong, and Zhao Heng and said, You guys can leave first. I have something to ask Huang Ying in private. Kai Yin, Mizhu, Dian Xiong, and Zhao Heng were all taken aback. They then bowed and replied, Yes, my lord. After they finished speaking, they left the hall and closed the door behind them. The moment the door closed, Huang Ying couldn't help but feel nervous. A pair of tanned hands unnaturally rubbed the corners of his clothes. Seeing this, Yi Chen smiled again. Then, he got up and walked over to Huang Ying. He took a glance at Huang Ying and then asked, Miss, why did you come to my reincarnation city with makeup? Ah! An even clearer cry of surprise suddenly sounded. Kai Yin, Dian Xiong, Mizhu, and Zhao Heng were all taken aback when they heard a woman's cry of surprise. In the next second, Kai Yin looked at Zhao Heng and asked, Huang Ying is a woman? He's a man. Zhao Heng stuttered. His face stiffened and he said regretfully, Damn it, I was fooled by her. Dian Xiong panicked when he heard this. Without thinking, he rushed into the hall and charged at Huang Ying, ready to take her down. Dian Xiong was Yi Chen's guard commander. How could he not be anxious when a woman disguised herself as a man and approached Yi Chen? When Yi Chen saw Dian Xiong rushing in, he hurriedly shouted, Stop! When Dian Xiong heard Yi Chen's order, his hand that was about to grab Huang Ying's neck stopped. His figure blurred and he blocked in front of Yi Chen. His violent eyes stared fiercely at Huang Ying, as if he would kill her on the spot if she made a move. At this time, Kai Yin, Zhao Heng, and Mi Zhu also walked in. The three of them looked at Huang Ying with different gazes. Kai Yin was scrutinizing her, Zhao Heng was furious, and Mi Zhu was confused. Your humble servant did not recognize her. Please punish me, my lord. Zhao Heng looked at Yi Chen and bowed in shame. After that, he looked at Huang Ying and shouted angrily, Speak. Who sent you? What is your motive for approaching the Lord? I. Huang Ying opened her mouth but no words came out. My lord, I am also guilty. Please punish me. Dian Xiong stared at Huang Ying and said with self-blame. Of course, he said this for Yi Chen. My lord, Huang Ying disguised herself as a man and sneaked into Samsara City. However, her talent is not fake. She must be from an extraordinary background. I don't think she wants to harm you. Kai Yin looked at Yi Chen and bowed. My lord, your humble servant thinks so too. Huang Ying does not want to harm you. However, her identity needs to be investigated, and she should be sent out of Samsara City as soon as possible. Mi Zhu bowed and said. Yi Chen sighed and said, There is no need to investigate her identity. I already know. When Yi Chen finished his words, Kai Yin, Zhao Heng, Mi Zhu, and Dian Xiong were all stunned. Huang Ying, on the other hand, was astonished. When Yi Chen saw Huang Ying's surprised expression, he couldn't help but smile. He then said, If I'm not wrong, you must be Huang Wan, the daughter of Huang Qingyan, a famous scholar from Miannan. Am I right? Chapter 252. When Yi Chen guessed that Huang Ying was a woman, he guessed that her true identity was Huang Weiner. That was because her yellow hair was too different from the rest of the people. Adding on the fact that she was a woman and came from Miannan, Yi Chen naturally thought of Huang Weiner. In the entire Great Han Empire, only Huang Weiner had that unique yellow hair. When Huang Weiner heard this, she sighed and then bowed, saying, Huang Weiner from Miannan greets General Pingbei. It really was Huang Weiner. Yi Chen's eyes lit up when he heard Huang Weiner admit it. Huang Weiner wasn't famous in history, but many people knew of her because she was the wife of Liang Fulong. However, this didn't stop Yi Chen from being pleasantly surprised. Huang Weiner herself was an extremely talented person. Not only was she multi-talented, but she was also proficient in the art of mechanisms. Without Huang Weiner, who knew how many years it would take for the wooden ox in history to appear. Huang Ying looked very ugly, or rather, Huang Weiner looked very ugly at this moment. However, the truth was that Huang Weiner had disguised herself. Not only was she not ugly, but she was also very beautiful. It was just that her hair was a bit yellow. If she were in the real world, Huang Weiner would be a mixed-blood beauty. In the game world, she was even recognized as one of the beauties by the AI Pangu. In his previous life, there were many players who wanted Huang Weiner. Unfortunately, none of them succeeded. In the end, Huang Weiner followed the path of history and followed Liang Fulong. From then on, she vanished without a trace. Thinking of this, Yi Chen looked at Huang Weiner with a different look in his eyes. At this moment, Zhao Heng looked at Huang Weiner and cupped his fists in apology. This old man has been rude. Lady Weiner, please forgive me. It's my fault. I shouldn't have hidden it from Vice City Lord Zhao. Huang Weiner hurriedly bowed. This. Dian Xiong looked at Huang Weiner with a conflicted expression. He originally wanted to apologize, but Dian Xiong felt that he had done the right thing. He didn't know what to say. General, please don't take offense. Wan apologizes. Huang Wan looked at Dian Xiong and bowed apologetically. That. Dian Xiong stuttered for a long time before looking at Yi Chen. He bowed and said, My lord, I will leave first. Yi Chen chuckled and nodded. Then he said, It's fine. You are my guard commander. You did the right thing. Don't take it to heart. Dian Xiong's eyes lit up when he heard this. He bowed and said, Yes, my lord. This general will take his leave. After saying that, he left the hall. Kai Yin, Zhao Heng, and Mi Zhu glanced at each other, then turned to Yi Chen and bowed in unison. My lord, this humble servant shall take his leave. Yi Chen chuckled and nodded. Kai Yin, Zhao Heng, and Mi Zhu left the hall. Zhao Heng closed the door behind him. After closing the door, Zhao Heng sighed and said, Sigh, no wonder my lord wanted us to leave first. He had already discovered Huang Wan-er's identity. My lord wanted to keep it a secret. He didn't expect us to be in the hall. Mi Zhu nodded and said, It's fine. As long as we don't tell anyone about Huang Wan-er's identity, I'm sure my lord won't blame us. Kai Yin smiled and said, Assistant Minister Kai is right. However, I don't understand why Huang Wan would disguise herself as a man and come to Samsara City. Mi Zhu nodded and asked curiously, Perhaps she just wants to prove herself. Kai Yin thought for a moment and said, But she is a woman. If news of her becoming an official in Samsara City were to spread, Huang Qingyan's reputation would be tarnished. Even the Lord would be affected. Zhao Heng's expression changed when he heard this and he spoke up. The key to this matter lies with my lord. However, Huang Wan-er's identity has been exposed. I don't think she will be an official in Samsara City. Kai Yin said after a moment of silence. In the hall, Yi Chen looked at Huang Wan-er, who was still standing, and said with a smile, Miss Huang, please take a seat. Thank you, General. Huang Wan-er looked at Yi Chen and bowed. Then, she sat down on a chair. Miss Huang, may I ask why you have left Jingzhou and come to Samsara City? Yi Chen asked with a smile after Huang Wan-er sat down. General, are you puzzled as to why I, as a woman, would want to work in Samsara City? Huang Wan-er asked after a moment of silence. Yi Chen nodded and asked, That is indeed the case. Aren't you afraid that the world will gossip? If fear can save the Huang clan, why would I leave Jingzhou? Huang Wan-er said after a moment of silence. The Huang clan is a big clan in Miannan of Jingzhou, and your father is a famous person in Miannan. Why do you say that the Huang clan is in trouble? Yi Chen asked after a moment of surprise. Huang Wan sighed and said, I have many skills. Wan has learned a lot of things, including the art of aura divination. The Huang clan's luck is constantly slipping away. If there is no solution, the Miannan Huang clan will be annihilated in the dust of history, no matter how big the clan is. Therefore, I have searched the world for a solution. When I came to Yuzhou, I found a place where the Qi observation skill was condensed and seemed to be rising. I thought it was an ownerless place, but I didn't expect it to be the general's territory. Yi Chen raised his eyebrows when he heard this. Huang Wan said that the Qi observation skill was condensed and seemed to be rising. It was the characteristic of the God-level village creation token, which automatically gathered the Qi observation skill of heaven and earth. Unexpectedly, Huang Wan came out to find a solution for the Huang clan. If Samsara City had not appeared, she would have married Liang Fulong according to history. Thinking of this, Yi Chen could not help but frown. Yi Chen naturally knew Liang Fulong's name. Yi Chen also wanted to recruit him, but Yi Chen did not want to give up Huang Wan. Why are you frowning, General? Is my matter embarrassing you? Huang Wan saw Yi Chen's frown and suddenly became gloomy. She did not give up and asked. She still wanted to work in Samsara City, and then move the Huang clan in Miannan to Samsara City. Only in this way could the Qi observation skill of Samsara City protect the Huang clan in Miannan. Hearing Huang Wan's question, Yi Chen came to his senses and asked, Since Miss Huang is so knowledgeable, have you heard of the Copper Sparrow Pavilion? Copper Sparrow Pavilion. Huang Wan was slightly stunned. After a while, Huang Wan came to her senses and then asked in disbelief, General, if I didn't hear wrong, you not only have the blueprint of the Copper Sparrow Pavilion, but also want to build it and marry me? Hearing this, Yi Chen could not help but be stunned. He did not expect Huang Wan to draw inferences and directly say what was in her mind. After coming to his senses, Yi Chen nodded without hesitation and then said, You're right. I have the blueprint of the Copper Sparrow Pavilion and will build it soon. As for whether I want to marry you or not, it's up to you. If you don't want to, then you can only stay in the Copper Sparrow Pavilion and never marry. Chapter 253. When Huang Weiner heard Yi Chen's overbearing and undisguised words, she was once again stunned. Huang Qingyan was a famous scholar in Miannan. Those who knew him all knew that his daughter, Huang Weiner, was ugly. Since Yi Chen knew that she was Huang Qingyan's daughter, he must have heard about it. However, Yi Chen still said that he wanted to marry her. Huang Weiner was completely dumbfounded. In her opinion, Yi Chen was too unbelievable. People did not like ugly women, but Yi Chen liked them. Of course, the key was that Huang Weiner herself felt that she did not fit in. She was really ugly. After regaining her senses, Huang Weiner looked into Yi Chen's eyes and said seriously, The rumors outside are true. I am really ugly. Don't you dislike me? Ugly? That's what other people think. I've seen your face before. To me, you're a peerless beauty. Yi Chen couldn't help but smile when he heard this. Then, he spoke in an extremely serious manner. Naturally, Yi Chen was not lying. In his previous life, there had been plenty of players who had designs on Huang Weiner. Although Yi Chen had not participated, he had seen Huang Weiner's country-toppling beauty. With just one glance, it was unforgettable. Huang Weiner looked into Yi Chen's eyes. After a while, she nodded heavily and said, General's eyes tell me that your words come from the bottom of your heart. I thank you. After Huang Weiner finished speaking, she bowed to Yi Chen to express her gratitude. Hearing this, Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and asked, Miss Huang, have you made your decision? General, if I refuse, how will you punish me? Huang Weiner looked at Yi Chen and asked in a clear voice, If you refuse, I can only apologize. I'm afraid that you will have to spend the rest of your life in Samsara City. Yi Chen said without hesitation. Greetings, husband. Hearing those words, Huang Weiner immediately smiled and bowed to Yi Chen. Ding. The superclass historical beauty Huang Weiner wishes to acknowledge you as her master. Will you accept? Yi Chen's eyes widened when he heard the system notification. Damn. Do I even need to think about it? Accept. Ding. Congratulations to player Yi Chen for obtaining the loyalty of the superclass historical beauty Huang Weiner. Damn, the feeling of intercepting her was too good. Thinking of this, Yi Chen could not help but laugh wildly. Huang Weiner looked at Yi Chen, who was laughing very happily. She could not help but feel sweetness in her heart, and a happy smile crept onto her face. She had come to Samsara City for the Miannan Huang clan, but the result was beyond her expectations. She had never expected Yi Chen to propose to her. She was an ugly girl. Everyone thought so, and she was no exception. But in the end, Yi did not think she was beautiful, and he proposed to her in her face. Yi Chen was the general who pacified the north in the Great Han Empire. He was a third-rank official and had a noble status. Huang Qingyan from Miannan, who was her father, had some influence, but even Huang Qingyan couldn't compare with Yi Chen. In Huang Weiner's opinion, the Miannan Huang was of no use to Yi Chen. There was no need for a marriage alliance. Even if Yi Chen wanted to develop his power and marry, he would find someone with a bigger family and a higher status. If Yi Chen wanted to marry someone with such a family, the possibility of success was very high. Therefore, in Huang Weiner's opinion, Yi Chen's proposal was not for personal gain at all. If there was a reason, it was because of the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. However, Huang Weiner did not feel conflicted about this at all. The Copper Sparrow Pavilion could only be used by beautiful women. Yi Chen's decision was undoubtedly because he recognized her appearance and thought that she was really beautiful. How could Huang Weiner resist? In addition, Yi Chen was very handsome and had a strong masculine aura. It was very attractive to women. It was hard for Huang Weiner not to fall for it. Even if there was no Miannan Huang, Huang Weiner would not reject Yi Chen. Ding. Huang Weiner's favorability has increased. It has advanced to intimate. Ding. Huang Weiner's loyalty has increased. It has advanced to loyal. As soon as the system's notification ended, a world announcement sounded. Ding. Congratulations to player Yi Chen for being the fourth person to obtain the loyalty of a superclass historical beauty, Huang Weiner. Special reward to player Yi Chen for reputation plus 5 million, 10 million gold. The world announcement was repeated 3 times, and it instantly caused an uproar in the world channel. Holy shit! Huang Weiner? Liang Fulong's wife? Damn, didn't they say she was ugly? Yi Chen wants a woman like her? What kind of King thirst is he? Ha ha ha, Yi Chen is too awesome. He even wants an ugly woman. His taste is really heavy. Hee hee, maybe Yi Chen's taste has changed and he doesn't like beauties anymore. This is even better. Diaochan will be alone. Ha ha ha, brothers, hurry up and level up. When we defeat Yi Chen in the future, Diaochan might still be the original. Damn, are you all idiots? Didn't you see the world announcement? A superclass historical beauty. Damn, do you know what a superclass historical beauty is? Diaochan is 1. Kai Mei is 1 too. Mi Zhen is 1 too. Which one of them is ugly? Why bother with those idiots? They're all idiot. They're obviously jealous, but they can't do anything about it. All they can do is complain. Speaking of which, Boss Yi Chen is too awesome. Huang Weiner is a woman who doesn't lose to Liang Fulong. I remember now. It seems that the wooden ox in the historical records was created by Liang Fulong because of Huang Weiner. Damn. Are you kidding me? Not only is she a superclass historical beauty, but she's also so awesome. Doesn't that mean Yi Chen is even more awesome? How the CK do you want me to live? I don't know if you can live or not. Damn, I'm so depressed right now. Damn, I've been attacking the Mianan Huang family for so long. Damn. Huang Weiner actually ran away. Ha ha ha, idiot. One look and I can tell that you want to take advantage of the dragon subduing academy. Hee hee, it's over for you. Damn. Who cares about Liang Fulong? I want Huang Weiner. You guys didn't see her face, but I saw it. She's a great beauty and a great mixed-blood beauty. Hee hee, a great beauty, Liang Fulong. Do you guys think Yi Chen wants to die because of her? Damn. That's possible. On one side is a great mixed-blood beauty, and on the other is the famous Liang Fulong. How will Yi Chen choose? I bet 1 cent that Yi Chen chooses Huang Weiner. I bet 2 cents that Yi Chen chooses Liang Fulong. The World Channel was flooded with messages. Yi Chen casually glanced at it and raised his eyebrows. How will I choose? Is there a need to say? Huang Weiner must be mine. As for Liang Fulong, if you follow me, you can live. If you don't, I'll kill you. Chapter 254. Liang Fulong was a top-notch historical official with the title of Crouching Dragon. He was astonishingly talented, resourceful, and had many strong points. How could Yi Chen not know him? Yi Chen naturally wanted to subdue Liang Fulong, but Yi Chen wanted Huang Weiner more. If he had to choose between the two, Yi Chen would only choose Huang Weiner. For Yi Chen, Huang Weiner was not someone he would give up the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. The beauties who stayed at the Copper Sparrow Pavilion were either pure virgins or the concubines of the owner. Therefore, after Yi Chen obtained the blueprint of the Copper Sparrow Pavilion, it was already destined that he would not let go of all the beauties who were recognized by Pangu. Not to mention, in his previous life, when Yi Chen saw Huang Weiner's appearance, he had a different thought in his heart. Now that he had been reborn and met Huang Weiner again, how could Yi Chen let her slip through his fingers? Thinking of this, Yi Chen looked at Huang Weiner and said with a smile, "Weiner, it's time to change back to your original appearance." "Yes," Huang Weiner replied softly. Then she raised her right hand and waved her sleeve in front of her face. Huang Weiner's true appearance immediately appeared in front of Yi Chen's eyes. At this moment, Yi Chen felt as if he had returned to his previous life. On that day, he took a hurried glance and remembered it forever. If he had to describe Huang Weiner's beauty, it would be that she was like a lotus that emerged from clear water and was naturally carved. At this moment, Huang Weiner looked at Yi Chen timidly. She was afraid that Yi Chen was lying and that her beautiful dream would suddenly be shattered. However, she saw Yi Chen's sincere and passionate gaze. She could tell that Yi Chen really liked her. He liked her very, very much. At this moment, Huang Weiner was completely immersed in Yi Chen's gaze. Seeing the intoxicated look on Huang Weiner's face, Yi Chen came back to his senses. He stepped forward, pulled Huang Weiner into his embrace, and kissed her fiercely. As time passed, Huang Weiner leaned her entire body against Yi Chen. Pop! Their lips parted, and Huang Weiner opened her eyes. Her fair little face immediately blushed as she softly called out, "Husband, I have something good for you," Yi Chen said with a chuckle. After saying that, he waved his right hand and a two-world stone appeared in Yi Chen's hand. "This is a two-world stone?" Huang Weiner asked after she saw the stone in Yi Chen's hand. "That's right, the two-world stone. Are you willing to come to my world?" Yi Chen nodded and said. Hearing this, Huang Weiner said in surprise, "Yes, willing. This concubine is willing." Huang Weiner was extremely talented and could recognize the two-world stone. Naturally, she knew the use of the two-world stone. She also knew that after using the two-world stone, one could go to the real world. To Huang Weiner, who had given her heart and soul to Yi Chen, being able to go to the real world to accompany Yi Chen was the best thing that could happen. Yi Chen looked at Huang Weiner's surprised expression and felt a warmth in his heart. He then handed the two-world stone to Huang Weiner. After Huang Weiner took it, she chose to use it without hesitation. At this moment, a maid's voice came from the door. My lord, General Zhao Meng wishes to see you. This guy came back rather quickly. No, something must have happened. Thinking of this, Yi Chen couldn't help but frown. Then, he said, "Let him in." "Yes, my lord." "Sir Overlord." The maid outside the door bowed and hurriedly left the door. Huang Weiner looked at Yi Chen and said, "Husband, this concubine will go to the back residence to see my sisters." Yi Chen nodded and chuckled. "Go ahead. They are easy to get along with. Don't worry." "Okay." Huang Weiner smiled sweetly and turned to go to the back residence. Soon, the door to the hall was pushed open and Zhao Meng walked in. He looked at Yi Chen and bowed. "Greetings, my lord." Yi Chen nodded and asked, "Zhao Meng, what's the hurry?" "My lord, I saw a group of Taoists outside the Reincarnation Valley wearing golden headscarves and preaching the way of peace." Zhao Meng hurriedly bowed and said when he heard Yi Chen's question. When Yi Chen heard this, his eyes widened and a cold glint flashed across them. Golden headscarves. Way of peace. Damn it, there were too many things to do. I actually forgot about this. Fortunately, it was just the beginning. There was still time. When he thought of this, Yi Chen looked at Zhao Meng and asked, "Did you let them enter the city?" "I ordered that they were not allowed to enter the city. However, they openly displayed some talisman water at the entrance of the Reincarnation Valley. They claimed that it could cure all diseases, and did not charge a single cent. Now, some people have gone to collect the talisman water. However, these people are refugees who have just joined the Reincarnation City." Zhao Meng shook his head and said, "How dare you?" When Yi Chen heard this, he was instantly enraged and shouted out, "My lord, I will kill them all now." Zhao Meng saw that Yi Chen was angry and hurriedly bowed. "Drive them away first. If they don't leave, kill them. If they dare to spread rumors, kill them. In addition, expel all the people who came to collect the talisman water from the Reincarnation City. If there are any strange movements, kill them without mercy." Yi Chen narrowed his eyes and said in a deep voice, "Yes, my lord." "My lord." When Zhao Meng heard this, he hurriedly bowed and left to carry out Yi Chen's orders. "Damn Zhang Jiao! How dare he set his sights on me? Don't come out. Come out and I'll kill you." When he thought of this, Yi Chen snorted coldly and a murderous aura erupted from his body. The talisman water from the Path of Peace did have some magical effects. However, if one thought that it was a good thing, they would be gravely mistaken. In his previous life, before the Golden Turban Rebellion, the Path of Peace had already set their sights on the Lord Players. As long as the territories were strong enough, there would be people from the Path of Peace. Their methods were the same. They would use the talisman water to give to the people for free and at the same time, preach the teachings of the Path of Peace. Once the people used the Path of Peace's talisman water, they would definitely become Zhang Jiao's followers. This was Zhang Jiao's method. His goal was very simple. He wanted to force the Lord Players to join him. As long as the Lord Players chose to side with the Path of Peace, they would be at a great disadvantage. If they were lucky, they would suffer heavy losses. If they were lucky, all their efforts would be for naught. This situation was not uncommon in his previous life. There were many Lord Players who were at a disadvantage. When he thought of this, Yi Chen frowned. Just as he was about to order the maids to summon Dian Xiong, Guo Yi and Zhao Yun hurriedly walked in. As soon as they entered the hall, Guo Yi and Zhao Yun bowed and said, "Greetings, my lord." Yi Chen nodded, then looked at Zhao Yunjing and said, "Yunjing, quickly close the teleportation portal. Also, strictly investigate all the people who come to the reincarnation realm through the teleportation portal. Arrest anyone who behaves strangely and approaches the people without permission." Chapter 255. "Yes, my lord, my lord." When Zhao Yunjing heard this, he hurriedly bowed and replied. After that, he hurriedly left the hall. Yi Chen looked at Guo Yi and asked in confusion, "Fengxiao, why did you and Yunjing come back in such a hurry? Did something happen?" Guo Yi shook his head and bowed. My lord, the trip to Luoyang went very smoothly. There were no unforeseen events. However, Jia saw a demon from the Tao of Peace wearing a golden headscarf in Luoyang. That was why I hurried back with Yunjing. However, it seems that my lord already knows about this. Yi Chen smiled and said, I see. Now that you've seen the sorcerer from the Taiping sect, do you have any ideas? My lord, in my opinion, the sorcerer from the Taiping sect uses talisman water and words to lure the people into the Taiping sect. Although the methods are inferior, they are very effective. Many people in the Great Han Dynasty don't have enough to eat. Some even trade their children for food. For Samsara City, the people's recognition, loyalty, and stability are very high. Even if the sorcerer from the Taiping sect appears in Samsara City, he can't persuade the people to join the Taiping sect. Therefore, talisman water is the only threat to Samsara City. My lord, you can give the order to designate the sorcerer from the Taiping sect as a member of the evil sect. Once you give the order, the sorcerer from the Taiping sect will be attacked by the people of Samsara City as soon as he enters or gets close to Samsara City. Moreover, even if the sorcerer from the Taiping sect sneaks into Samsara City, there is no need to worry, because they have nowhere to hide. Yi Chen was stunned when he heard this. He then asked, It's that simple? Guo nodded and said respectfully, My lord, you have a special place in the hearts of the people of Samsara. They respect you, and even worship you. No matter what your orders are, the people of Samsara will follow them 100%. Yi Chen was stunned and then said, So that's how it is. Feng Xiao, I'll leave this matter to you. Also, inform Mi Zhu to buy as much food as possible. Yi Chen wanted to buy as much food as possible to prepare for the Golden Scarf Rebellion. If there was not enough food, Samsara City would be doomed no matter how powerful it was. Of course, the food in Samsara City was enough to deal with the chaos of the Golden Turban. However, Yi Chen was still planning to fish for more people in the Golden Turban Rebellion. Therefore, the more food Yi Chen had, the better. Yes, my lord. Time is of the essence. I will take my leave first. Guo bowed and replied. Yi Chen nodded and said, Okay, go ahead. Write the notice as soon as possible. Yes, my lord. Guo bowed again, then turned and left the hall. Looking at the empty hall, Yi Chen let out a long sigh, and then the corners of his mouth curled up. It turned out that using the hearts of the people was so awesome. Once the notice was out, even if Taiping Dao appeared in Samsara City, they would have nowhere to hide. Save me the trouble, not bad, not bad. Yi Chen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows when he thought of this. Then, he looked at the item in his status panel. Yang Restoration Pill X3, Conscription Token Heaven Grade, X6, Village Creation Token Gold Grade, X15, General Soul, King Grade, X321, General Soul, Emperor Grade, X192, General Soul, Emperor Grade, X8, King Grade Cultivation Technique X820000, Emperor Grade Cultivation Technique X380000, Emperor Grade Cultivation Technique X120000, Saint Grade Cultivation Technique X10000, Special Map Teleportation Scroll X1, Lottery X1, Recruitment Token Heaven Grade, X3, Innate Attribute Points X180. Yi Chen's lips curled up when he saw the pile of items in his storage space. The northern expedition to Wuhuan had yielded a bountiful harvest. There were 820,000 king-grade cultivation techniques. If 820,000 innate realm soldiers suddenly appeared in Samsara City, how would the people in the real world react? Yi Chen couldn't help but laugh wildly at this thought. At this moment, Yi Chen was in a good mood, because more than 99% of the people had never even seen a king-grade cultivation technique before. And Yi Chen's soldiers would soon be rewarded with a king-grade cultivation technique. Advancing to the innate realm was almost guaranteed. The difference between an innate realm soldier and a so-called elite soldier was like heaven and earth. There was no comparison at all. Even the strongest army in the Great Han Empire didn't have a innate realm soldier. As long as one had reached the Xiantian realm, they were basically generals in the army. And soon, all the soldiers in Samsara City would be at the innate realm. If this was released, it would definitely shock the world and stun everyone. His luck was so good. So many cultivation techniques had dropped from a transcendent realm. Thinking of this, Yi Chen tapped on his bone frame. The moment it reached 101, a system notification sounded. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for upgrading his bone frame to the immortal realm. An indescribable feeling of comfort instantly appeared in Yi Chen's body. It felt so good from head to toe that even his soul was cheering. And Yi Chen's aura suddenly changed at this moment. It became more and more obvious. After a few breaths, Yi Chen seemed to have changed into a different person. No matter how you looked at it, he was an extraordinary immortal. After the time it took to brew a cup of tea passed, Yi Chen suddenly opened his eyes, and a brilliant light flashed in them. Immortal bone, this was the immortal bone. Whether it was what he saw with his eyes or what he felt with his body, it was different from before. It was more detailed and detailed. Awesome! Looking at the remaining innate realm attribute points, Yi Chen tapped on the immortal bone without hesitation. When there were 39 points left, the system notification sounded again. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for upgrading his immortal bone to the 1-star immortal body. At the same time, an even more pleasant feeling appeared in Yi Chen's soul. After a few seconds, Yi Chen's body started to automatically absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. It strengthened Yi Chen's physical body and soul bit by bit. And Yi Chen did not even control it. His body absorbed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth on its own and then refined it. Holy shit! Upgrading his bone frame to the immortal body could also automatically increase his cultivation level. If his bone frame was upgraded, his strength would also increase even if he just ate and waited for death every day. Thinking of this, Yi Chen could not help but raise his eyebrows. I have the 1-star immortal body now. Even if I don't cultivate and play every day, I can still become an earth immortal. If I completely refined the fire spirit pearl, my fire spirit body would be completed. Then, I would directly become a 9-star immortal body, the most special immortal body. If I could gather the 5 elements spirit pearl and refine it all, I would be able to upgrade to the 5 elements divine body. As long as I had the 5 elements divine body, I would be able to look up to the saint body. As long as my bone frame was upgraded to the divine body, I would be able to become a sage to be even if I did not cultivate. At this thought, Yi Chen's eyes lit up. I must gather the 5 elements spirit pearl. Chapter 256. Just as Yi Chen thought of this, the world announcement rang out. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for being the first to evolve into a celestial body. Special reward: innate stats plus 10. The moment the world announcement rang out, the world channel exploded. F***CK. Are you kidding me? He just accepted Huang Weiner. How many minutes has it been? F***CK. He made another world announcement? F***CK. Yi Chen, that bastard, has made countless world announcements. It seems like all the world announcements added together are not as many as Yi Chen's. Boss Yi Chen is awesome. He monopolizes half of the world. Ha ha ha, don't F***king talk nonsense. Is there anyone who understands? Can anyone tell me what the F***ck is? This celestial spirit body? Yi Chen has become an immortal? If he becomes an immortal, F***ck, who can stop him? Previously, it was the innate Taoism aptitude. No one knows what that is. This celestial body is obviously even more awesome. But F***ck, if Yi Chen is so awesome, why is he still in the human world? F***ck, if he's not in the human world, could it be that he's ascending? Wait, F***ck. I think I've discovered some big news. F***ck. Could it be that one can really ascend in this game? Boss Yi Chen, please explain. Can you ascend? Please say it out loud. F***ck. If Yi Chen was willing to tell us, he would have revealed the game's secret the moment he entered the game. You have to know that he didn't say anything even when others offered him money. Now that Yi Chen is so awesome, if he's willing to tell us, I'll livestream myself eating **T. Boss Yi Chen, please explain. I'm your loyal fan. You can't let your loyal fan be sad. In the World Channel, the players were discussing fervently. Soon, the discussion revolved around whether one could ascend in the game world. Yi Chen glanced at the World Channel and raised his eyebrows. Keep it to yourself. This wasn't a big secret, but Yi Chen didn't want to say it out loud. If he did, wouldn't it give others even more motivation to level up? Yi Chen still wanted to be the first to reach the great desolate world. Furthermore, he wanted to ascend with the entire country. Thinking of this, Yi Chen smirked and looked at the attribute panel. Since his bone frame had reached the level of a 1-star immortal spirit body, he would be able to raise his cultivation even without cultivating. Furthermore, if he were to cultivate on his own, the effects would definitely be incredible. Yi Chen only had a born Taoism aptitude in his previous life. He had never attained the immortal spirit body, so he didn't know that the immortal spirit body could automatically absorb the spiritual qi of heaven and earth to improve his cultivation. Hence, after Yi Chen obtained the fire spirit pearl, he wasn't that enthusiastic about it. After all, the fire spirit pearl was a connate numinous treasure. It was not easy to refine it. Even if it was just the initial refinement of the fire spirit pearl and turning it into the fire spirit body, it wasn't something Yi Chen could achieve now. Not to mention completely refining it and then achieving the phenomenal success of the fire spirit body to become a special 9-star immortal spirit body. Even if he could refine the fire spirit pearl when he obtained it, Yi Chen wouldn't do it. That was because Yi Chen didn't have the immortal spirit body at that time. Once he chose to refine it, Yi Chen would only face one outcome. His body would explode and he would die. Hence, Yi Chen didn't even think about refining the fire spirit pearl at that time. Furthermore, Yi Chen didn't think that he would be able to advance to the immortal spirit body in the newbie area of the Three Kingdoms. Who would have thought that not only did he advance, but he also had a lot of innate attribute points. Originally, Yi Chen wanted to earn as many innate attribute points as possible in the newbie area of the Three Kingdoms. After ascending to the great desolate world, he would search for natural treasures that could improve his bone frame, eat them, and advance to the immortal spirit body. When his cultivation reached a certain level, he would refine the fire spirit pearl and become a fire spirit body. Then, he would eat natural treasures to improve his bone frame and become stronger step by step. As for the possible competitors, Yi Chen wasn't worried at all. After all, Yi Chen was far ahead of the other players. It wouldn't be difficult for him to snatch natural treasures to improve his bone frame before the other players. At least, no other players would compete with Yi Chen. That was because Yi Chen was the top existence among the first echelon of players. By the time others discovered the secret of the bone frame, it would be too late to look for natural treasures. Yi Chen would have already plundered everything. Now, Yi Chen had already attained the immortal spirit body and knew the benefits of it. Naturally, he had thoughts about refining the fire spirit pearl and improving his bone frame as soon as possible. If he wanted to improve his bone frame quickly and take a shortcut, the key was the 5 elements spirit pearl. As long as Yi Chen could quickly gather the 5 elements spirit pearl and refine it, he would be able to advance to the 5 elements divine body. With the 5 elements divine body, once he entered Primordial world, Yi Chen's Qi realm would definitely increase by leaps and bounds. That was because the better his bone frame was, the faster he could absorb and refine the spirit energy in the world. And the spirit energy in Primordial world was so thick that it was ridiculous. It was also innate spirit energy, and its quality was not something that the acquired spirit energy in the mortal world could compare to. Besides, Yi Chen was cultivating himself. It would be difficult for Yi Chen's qi realm not to increase. Refining the 5 elements spirit pearl was very difficult, but it was not impossible. Yi Chen knew the key item, and he had used it before. It was the Tao Comprehension Stone. Entering Tao Comprehension mode and refining the 5 elements spirit pearl might be very extravagant, but this was the only way to take a shortcut. I've already obtained the fire spirit pearl of the 5 elements spirit pearl. I have to gather the other 4 5 elements spirit pearls as soon as possible. The other 4 5 elements spirit pearls seem to have changed owners a few times in my previous life. I can't be sure who has them now. But the person who should have the wood spirit pearl in the end should be Mu Qingfeng, who was attached to Templar Town in real life. The person who should have the earth spirit pearl should be the Alliance Master of Heaven and Earth Alliance, Mo Yen. The person who should have the gold spirit pearl should be a solo player, Lord Grimm. No one knew his real name. The person who should have the water spirit pearl should be, damn it. The person who should have the water spirit pearl should be a snake among the monsters. Later on, he became a monster king. When he thought of this, Yi Chen instantly frowned. These people and monsters were very far away from the city Yi Chen was currently in. He would not be able to find them within a short period of time. He already had a heaven-level teleportation matrix in real life. He just lacked a secondary formation plate. If he wanted to create a secondary formation plate, he needed a void stone. As long as he had a void stone, he could create a secondary formation plate from a heaven-level teleportation matrix. Then, he could teleport around and return. It would not be difficult to find those people or monsters. When he thought of this, Yi Chen widened his eyes. Void Stone. Tao Comprehension Stone. Once the Golden Turban Rebellion started, 2 ranking boards would be created. The War Merit Ranking and the Merit Ranking. The War Merit Ranking was for the Golden Turban, while the Merit Ranking was for the Monster Race. Both boards had a large number of items that could be exchanged. In my previous life, I've seen Void Stones and Tao Comprehension Stones. During the Golden Turban Rebellion, I'm going to kill everyone. When Yi Chen finished thinking, he clenched his fist and placed all his attribute points on his primordial spirit. His primordial spirit instantly went from 1 point to 50. The key to refining the 5 elements spirit pearls was the primordial spirit. The stronger the primordial spirit, the less Tao Comprehension Stones would be used. Since he had already decided to refine the 5 elements spirit pearls and increase his root bone, Yi Chen naturally would not place his attribute points on his root bone. Chapter 257. Yi Chen was stunned when his primordial spirit reached 50 points because the range of his perception had increased by 50 times. The characteristics of the primordial spirit's perception were the same as the power of the physical body. They were not sealed. Yi Chen's eyes lit up when he thought of this. The perception of the primordial spirit was like using the eyes to see the world. However, using the primordial spirit to see the world was omnidirectional, while the eyes could only see what was in front of them. Moreover, compared to the naked eye, the primordial spirit did not have the restrictions of day and night and would not be confused by illusions. Whether it was in the game world or in reality, there were some special places that were shrouded in illusions. They looked real, but in reality there was nothing there. They looked empty, but in reality there was something else. Usually, when such a place appeared, it was either a special treasure, a special blessed land, or the cave abode of some human or demon. In the game world there were such special places. For example, the 3 immortal islands hidden in the sea, Penglai, Fangzhong, and Yingzhou. There were spiritual herbs everywhere and countless rare treasures. However, ordinary people could not find any traces of them. In his previous life, after the players learned about Penglai, Fangzhong, and Yingzhou, Countless people rushed to the vast sea in order to find the 3 immortal islands and then go in to plunder the spiritual herbs and rare treasures. However, until Yi Chen's rebirth, no one had found any of the 3 immortal islands. Now Yi Chen had the chance to find the 3 immortal islands. As long as his primordial spirit was strong enough, the vast sea could not stop Yi Chen. As long as the 3 immortal islands hidden in the sea appeared in the range of Yi Chen's primordial spirit, they would be discovered by Yi Chen. As long as he found any of the 3 immortal islands, the harvest would definitely be beyond imagination. Thinking of this, Yi Chen's eyes widened. Penglai, Fangzhong, and Yingzhou were all mine. Yi Chen had the confidence and was not afraid of competition. Yi Chen was the strongest person in the human race. His physical body and soul had both transcended mortality. Moreover, Yi Chen already knew that the seal could not seal the perception characteristics of the primordial spirit. How could he not have designs on Penglai, Fangzhong, and Yingzhou? The stronger Yi Chen's essence spirit was, the greater the chances of him finding the 3 immortal island. If they were terrifyingly strong, the 3 immortal island would have nowhere to hide. The stronger the primordial spirit, the better, the more innate attribute points, the better. After thinking about it, Yi Chen looked at the lottery option on the attribute panel and clicked on it. Ding! Do you want to start the lottery? Yes. Yi Chen made his choice without hesitation. As Yi Chen made his choice, a large roulette wheel appeared in front of Yi Chen. Yi Chen's eyes widened the moment he saw the items on the wheel. F***CK. The number of items marked on the roulette wheel was the same as last time, 5 items. Godslayer Fragment X1, Spiritual Pet Aptitude Advancement Scroll, Immortal. X1, Treasurefall Coin X1, Yellow Plum X9, Panga Blood Essence X1. Yi Chen was ecstatic as he looked at the 5 items on the roulette wheel. Then, he threw his head back and laughed wildly. F***CK. Good fortune again. This is 2 F***King awesome. The 5 items were the same as last time. None of them were trash. Godslayer Fragment. It could increase the Godslayer's completeness and enhance the Godslayer's ability. Needless to say, this was very important. After using the Godslayer Fragment last time, the Godslayer already had the ability to devour souls. If he used another fragment, it would definitely be stronger. Spiritual Pet Aptitude Advancement Scroll, Immortal. As long as he drew it, Yi Chen's spiritual pet, Yanhu, would immediately evolve into an immortal beast. Yanhu was 100% loyal to Yi Chen. It would protect Yi Chen in the real world. The stronger it was, the safer Yi Chen would be. Needless to say, this was very important. Treasurefall Coin. This was a supreme-grade innate spiritual treasure. It could be compared to all treasures below innate cardinal treasures. It could also calculate the mysteries of the heavenly Tao. With this thing, Yi Chen would be feared by everyone in the great desolate world and hated by all fiends. Needless to say, this was also very important. Yellow Plum X9, one of the 5 great innate spiritual root. It would bloom once every 10,000 years and bear fruit once every 10,000 years. It would only mature after another 10,000 years. It would only bear 9 fruits in 30,000 years. It was on the same level as the peach of immortality and the ginseng fruit. It could also increase one's strength in an abnormal manner. It could also improve one's foundation. Yi Chen also wanted this. Pangu's Blood Essence. This was even more awesome. For Yi Chen, obtaining Pangu's Blood Essence and attaining the holy physique was basically a certainty. Therefore, this was also very important. None of the 5 items were trash. Yi Chen wanted any one of the 5 items. Of course, Yi Chen wanted all of them. Unfortunately, this was a lottery. He could only draw one at a time. He wondered if he could draw 2 at once like last time. Just as Yi Chen thought of this, the system's notification suddenly sounded. Ding! Player Yi Chen has 6 seconds left to choose. After that, he will automatically give up on the lottery. F***CK. Again. Give up my ass. The lottery began. The big wheel immediately began to spin. Looking at the 5 items on the big wheel constantly changing positions, Yi Chen's mood was also constantly changing. He didn't expect that this lottery would hit the time when his luck would explode. He was really lucky this time, F***ck. He didn't know which item he would draw. It would be best if it was Panga's blood essence. It would be even better if he could draw all of them. Yi Chen was a little conflicted as he finished thinking and casually pressed the stop button. The spinning speed of the big wheel immediately began to slow down, and then it slowed down again. One item after another, the pointer kept moving. When the pointer of the big wheel began to stop and pointed at Panga's blood essence X1, Yi Chen's eyes suddenly widened. This speed, F***ck. Panga's blood essence. Just as Yi Chen finished thinking, the pointer moved from Panga's blood essence to the Godslayer fragment. However, the pointer didn't stop. It slowly moved past the Godslayer fragment and pointed at the spiritual pet aptitude advancement scroll, immortal. F***ck. It was the worst of the 5 items, but it was good. Yenhu had become an immortal beast. Even without Samsara City, ordinary demons wouldn't dare to approach him. The pressure of an immortal beast wasn't something that any trash could withstand. It would be safer in reality. Just as Yi Chen thought of this, the pointer stopped. Just as Yi Chen thought, the pointer pointed at the position of the spiritual pet aptitude advancement scroll, immortal. F***ck. It really was the spiritual pet aptitude advancement scroll, immortal. At this moment, the pointer suddenly moved a little. The amplitude was very small, but it deviated from its original position. Pointed at the middle of the spiritual pet aptitude advancement scroll, immortal, X1 and the treasure fall coin X1. Seeing this, Yi Chen's eyes suddenly widened. F***ck. It was the same as last time. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for obtaining the spiritual pet aptitude advancement scroll, immortal, X1. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Chen for obtaining the treasure fall coin X1. Awesome! 2 more. Chapter 258. When Yi Chen heard the system's notification, he laughed out loud in excitement. He thought that there was only one, but who would have thought that there would be another, and it was a supreme-grade innate spirit treasure, the treasure fall coin. At this moment, Yi Chen was in a good mood. At this moment, 2 items appeared in front of Yi Chen. Looking at the 2 items floating in front of him, Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and took the treasure fall coin in his hand. Without thinking, he bit his index finger and dripped his blood on the treasure fall coin. A ball of golden light suddenly lit up from the treasure fall coin. Then, the treasure fall coin flew up and circled Yi Chen a few times before entering Yi Chen's forehead in a flash. Feeling the treasure fall coin in his mind, Yi Chen let out a long breath. With this treasure fall coin, the matter of the 5 elements spirit pearl was instantly raised to 100%. As long as he found the person or demon who had the 5 elements spirit pearl, they would have to hand it over even if they didn't want to. If they didn't hand it over, he would kill them. If he killed them, the 5 elements spirit pearl would not be able to protect its owner and escape. With the treasure fall coin, the 5 elements spirit pearl would not be able to escape. Thinking of this, Yi Chen's lips curled up. Then, he reached out and took the spiritual pet aptitude advancement scroll, immortal. After glancing at it, he kept it in his storage space. The lottery was over. Although the prize was not Panga's blood essence, the spiritual pet aptitude advancement scroll, immortal, and the treasure fall coin were not bad either. Moreover, it was more suitable for now. Thinking of this, Yi Chen smiled and looked at the item pane in the attribute panel. Special map teleportation scroll. I wonder where this will teleport me. After thinking about it, Yi Chen took out the special map teleportation scroll. Ding! Do you want to use the special map teleportation scroll? Warning: once the special map teleportation scroll is used, the portal will only last for 24 hours. Use. Yi Chen chose to use it without hesitation. Once used, the special map teleportation scroll could be used to teleport to Treasure Island. There were many types of Treasure Island. Once one entered, one would be able to obtain a large amount of spirit herbs. One could also obtain a large amount of high-quality resources, cultivation techniques, weapons, building blueprints, mounts, and so on. There were all sorts of good things. Wouldn't it be a waste to keep it and not use it? Besides, it wasn't like it couldn't be used back. How could Yi Chen be worried? Following Yi Chen's decision, a blue teleportation gate appeared in the Castellan's mansion's main hall. Yi Chen glanced at the teleportation gate and walked straight in. The dizziness disappeared in a flash. When Yi Chen opened his eyes, he was already on a beach at the edge of a giant island. As far as the eye could see, there was an endless sea. The damp sea breeze mixed with the faint smell of the sea instantly blew onto Yi Chen's face. A different feeling instantly emerged in Yi Chen's heart. Yi Chen smiled as he watched the waves ripple with the wind. Then, he turned around to look. The island was very big. He couldn't see the end of it. Towering trees could be seen everywhere. There was even a huge mountain in the middle of the island. Yi Chen couldn't identify the species of the trees. However, this didn't hinder Yi Chen's judgment. The trees on the island were all rare trees. The materials used were extremely high, reaching the pinnacle of the human world. This island, it didn't seem to have appeared in his previous life. No one had cut down the trees on this island in his previous life. They also didn't appear in the market. Otherwise, Yi Chen would have recognized them. He didn't know if the trees here were suitable for building a ship. If they were suitable, the ship he built would definitely be awesome. He would find someone to take a look and build a village if it was suitable. Thinking of this, Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and walked forward. Yi Chen had already determined what the good things on this treasure island were. They were the rare trees on the island. As for whether there were other things, Yi Chen wasn't sure. He still needed to investigate. The island was so big. Yi Chen couldn't just take a look and return. Along the way, other than trees, there were more trees. He didn't see any animals or birds. Just when Yi Chen thought that there were only trees on this island and was disappointed, a loud bang came from afar. Yi Chen was slightly stunned. He then jumped and rushed in the direction of the sound. Not long after, two huge and strange rhinoceroses appeared in front of Yi Chen. Without exception, the two rhinoceroses had huge bodies and golden scales on the surface of their bodies. Their rhinoceroses were pressed together. It was obvious that they were fighting. The moment he saw them, Yi Chen's eyes widened. Savage rhinoceroses. Damn, I didn't expect there to be such things on this island. Yi Chen was able to recognize the savage rhinoceroses because he was lucky enough to see them in his previous life. Otherwise, Yi Chen wouldn't be able to recognize the origin of the savage rhinoceroses. Of course, this wasn't important. Even if Yi Chen didn't recognize the savage rhinoceroses, he knew that they were savage beasts. Its appearance was too unique. This was the unique mark of a savage beast. The savage rhinoceroses were a type of savage beast. Furthermore, they were the most tyrannical existence. They were ferocious and battle-hungry. If one had the god-tier beast taming technique, one would be able to tame the savage rhinoceroses and use them as mounts. Savage rhinoceroses not only had great endurance, their running speed wasn't inferior to that of a famous horse. Previously, Yi Chen obtained the god-tier beast taming technique and gave it to the beast tamers in his territory. Originally, he wanted to find a savage beast and tame it to form a heavy cavalry. If this kind of heavy cavalry was successfully formed, it would definitely be an extremely ferocious existence. Especially when they charged, the novice region of the Three Kingdoms would definitely be frightened to tears. No wonder he didn't see any animals before. The heck, with the savage rhinoceroses around, all animals would die. Thinking of this, Yi Chen's eyes widened. There was a herd of savage rhinoceroses here. Just as Yi Chen finished thinking, the two fighting savage rhinoceroses simultaneously raised their head. Two pairs of scarlet rhinoceroses immediately looked at Yi Chen. Moo! Moo! Two earth-shattering roars instantly rang out. In the next second, the two savage rhinoceroses stopped fighting. They turned around and charged towards Yi Chen. Seeing the two savage rhinoceroses' crazy appearance, Yi Chen raised his eyebrows. Little guys, they really thought that they were a dish. Thinking of this, Yi Chen fiercely stomped on the ground with his right foot. Bang! A loud sound rang out. The ground instantly cracked. At this moment, Yi Chen also rapidly charged towards the savage rhinoceroses. In the instant of contact, Yi Chen threw a punch at the savage rhinoceroses in front. Boom! A loud sound rang out. The huge body of the savage rhinoceroses instantly leaned back and flew backward. At this moment, the last savage rhinoceroses arrived at Yi Chen's side. Yi Chen stretched out his left hand and grabbed the savage rhinoceros's horns. Bang! A loud sound rang out and the wildly charging savage rhinoceroses instantly froze. At this moment, a loud sound rang out. The savage rhinoceroses that were sent flying by Yi Chen's punch fell heavily on the ground. Yi Chen took a glance and raised his eyebrows. Damn, a savage beast is a savage beast. It actually didn't die after using 30% of my strength. Chapter 259. The rhinoceros that was knocked away by Yi Chen struggled on the ground several times. It wanted to get up, but in the end, it couldn't. Apart from that, the rhinoceros didn't have any other symptoms. At least 40% of my strength is needed to kill a rhinoceros? Thinking of this, Yi Chen looked at the rhinoceros that he was grabbing by its horn. The rhinoceros wanted to move but couldn't. Moo! The rhinoceros that Yi Chen was staring at suddenly roared angrily. Yi Chen raised his eyebrows and punched it with 40% of his strength. Bang! There was a loud sound. The rhinoceros's eyes widened in an instant, and then it fell to the ground. Looking at the rhinoceros that fell to the ground, Yi Chen couldn't help but be stunned. Damn it! 40% of my strength didn't kill it? Just as Yi Chen saw, the rhinoceros that fell to the ground was still panting, but it had fainted. Damn it, 50% of my strength is needed to kill a rhinoceros. Damn it! Its defense is really good. Without weapons, even the first-class historical generals would be tortured by the rhinoceros. Thinking of this, Yi Chen couldn't help laughing wildly. It's the mount of the heavy cavalry. Just as Yi Chen thought of this, there was a roar in the distance. Boom! Compared to the galloping of thousands of horses, it was heavier and louder. Yi Chen looked in the direction of the sound, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Damn it! So many rhinoceroses! He saw a dense crowd of rhinoceroses that he couldn't see the end of were running toward Yi Chen. Obviously, they were attracted by the roars of Yi Chen's two rhinoceroses. Good, there are at least 70,000 or 80,000 rhinoceroses. Yi Chen's eyes lit up, and then he rushed toward the rhinoceroses. Yi Chen's idea was very simple. He would knock these wild rhinoceroses out and then go back to call people to capture them and bring them back to Samsara City. As for calling the soldiers over, Yi Chen gave up on the idea after thinking about it. The savage rhinoceroses were too strong, and there were too many of them. Yi Chen alone could not stop all of them. If a savage rhinoceros charged to the soldiers, then Samsara's soldiers wouldn't be able to avoid injuries. As for preparing a large net to capture the savage rhinoceroses, it was impossible to do so. The teleportation gate here could only be maintained for 24 hours. It would be even more time-consuming and troublesome to create a net to capture the savage rhinoceroses. It would be easier to just knock them out. Seeing that not only did Yi Chen not run away, but he even charged over, the savage rhinoceroses were instantly agitated. The eyes of the savage rhinos turned scarlet in an instant, and they roared furiously one after another. Moo! 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 At this moment, Yi Chen came into contact with the rhinoceroses. He clenched his right hand into a fist and violently punched a rhinoceros. Bang! A loud sound rang out. The rhinoceros that was hit by Yi Chen instantly fell to the ground and fainted. After Yi Chen punched out, he didn't stop and punched another rhinoceros. Bang! Another loud sound rang out. Another rhinoceros was instantly knocked out by Yi Chen. The charging rhinoceroses were like little chicks in front of Yi Chen, unable to resist at all. Bang bang bang, a series of collisions instantly rang out. The rhinoceroses at the back didn't have time to change directions and instantly crashed into the unconscious rhinoceroses. The rhinoceroses at the back continued to crash, wave after wave. When Yi Chen saw this, the corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl up. His figure moved, and he immediately shuttled through the rhinoceroses. At this moment, Yi Chen's fists were constantly punching out. One punch after another, simple and violent. After every punch, a rhinoceros would inevitably be knocked out. The entire battlefield became Yi Chen's one-man show. No matter how the rhinoceroses resisted, it was useless. Under Yi Chen's punches, not a single rhinoceros was able to stand. Time slowly passed, and the number of rhinoceroses that were knocked out by Yi Chen increased. 100, 1,000, 10,000, 20,000. When 50,000 rhinoceroses were knocked out by Yi Chen, an hour had already passed. This was all thanks to Yi Chen's abnormal physical body and abnormal strength. Otherwise, Yi Chen would have collapsed from exhaustion. Just when Yi Chen wanted to continue knocking out the rhinoceroses looked at Yi Chen with a different gaze. Then, one by one, they stopped and looked at Yi Chen. When a rhinoceros knelt on the ground with its two front legs and its head touching the ground, Yi Chen couldn't help but be stunned. F***ck. Was it beaten into submission by me? There was actually such a method to tame savage beasts. Thinking of this, Yi Chen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. This method wasn't something that ordinary people could do. Using pure strength to tame savage beasts. In the beginner's area of the Three Kingdoms, other than me, no one could do it. Unfortunately, the rhinoceroses only submitted to me. If the Samsara soldiers wanted to ride them and break through enemy lines, they would still need to be trained. But this saved me a lot of trouble. I could just bring them back to Samsara City. At this moment, a deafening roar suddenly rang out. Moo! An extremely large rhinoceros suddenly appeared behind the rhinoceroses. Following its roar, the rhinoceroses instantly quieted down. They looked at Yi Chen, then looked at the huge rhinoceroses. Without prior agreement, they stood to the side and made way. Yi Chen was slightly stunned, then raised his eyebrows. This guy should be the king of the rhinoceroses. Does it want to fight me one-on-one? Damn, the timing of its appearance was very accurate. If it had appeared a few seconds later, this group of rhinoceroses would have submitted. Just as Yi Chen thought, the king of the rhinoceroses really did want to fight with Yi Chen one-on-one. He had no choice but to challenge Yi Chen one-on-one. If he didn't challenge Yi Chen one-on-one, his underlings would all submit to him. It walked step by step to Yi Chen. Its two large rhinoceroses stared at Yi Chen. Yi Chen sized up the rhinoceroses and nodded in satisfaction. Then he chuckled and asked, "You're not bad. You're good enough to be a mount. My generals don't have good mounts yet. Are you willing?" Although savage beasts had the word savage in their name, they weren't without intelligence. It was just that they were too savage and aggressive. It was extremely difficult for them to submit. As soon as Yi Chen finished speaking, the rhinoceroses let out an extremely angry roar. Moo! In the next second, the rhinoceroses charged towards Yi Chen. With a huge body and tyrannical strength, it charged at Yi Chen with an indomitable will, carrying a brutal aura. The rhinoceroses wanted to kill Yi Chen and then eat him bite by bite. Yi Chen actually wanted it to be a mount. Moreover, it wanted to be the mount of Yi Chen's subordinates. How could the rhinoceroses not be angry? Although this was the first time it heard this term, and the first time it saw a human, this didn't mean that the rhinoceroses didn't know what a mount was for. Chapter 260. Yi Chen looked at the barbaric rhinoceros king that was charging over. His eyebrows raised as his right foot fiercely stomped on the ground. Bang! A loud sound echoed. The ground instantly cracked and a deep hole appeared. At this moment, Yi Chen also charged towards the barbaric rhinoceros king. Bang! An incomparably loud sound of collision instantly rang out. All that could be seen was Yi Chen's right fist smashing onto the barbaric rhinoceros king's head. The barbaric rhinoceros king that originally still had the heart to fight with all its might instantly widened its eyes. Then, under its disbelieving gaze, its head tilted back and flew into the air. Seeing this, the corner of Yi Chen's mouth curled up. Then, he leaped and instantly arrived above the barbaric rhinoceros king that was in midair. In the instant that the barbaric rhinoceros king's eyes were stunned, his right foot fiercely stomped down. Bang! A muffled sound echoed. The barbaric rhinoceros king that was kicked in the stomach by Yi Chen instantly fell to the ground. Boom! The barbaric rhinoceros king's huge body instantly created an incomparably deep hole in the ground. Bang! Yi Chen landed on the ground and appeared beside the barbaric rhinoceros king. Moo! The barbaric rhinoceros king's eyes suddenly widened as it hurriedly let out a roar that represented submission. Then, it flipped over and knelt on the ground with its front hoof. The rhinoceros head was stuck to the ground. The barbaric rhinoceros king was clearly more rational than its underlings. It was knocked down by Yi Chen in a single exchange. This was enough to show that Yi Chen was much stronger than it. How could it still be unreasonable? If it didn't submit, wouldn't it be waiting to be abused? It might even be slaughtered. Moo! Roars of submission rang out in an instant. The barbaric rhinoceros that were still standing were no exception. They all knelt down and submitted to Yi Chen. Seeing this, Yi Chen suddenly smiled. Heavy cavalry. His 8 characters were already set. Thinking of this, Yi Chen looked at the barbaric rhinoceros king and instructed, Wait here. Wait here. I'll bring people over in a while. Without my orders, don't move. Don't attack others. Moo. Hearing that, the wild rhinoceros king nodded its rhinoceros head, then got up and let out a roar at the rhinoceros herd. When Yi Chen saw this, he smiled and left. He walked around the island, but didn't find any elixirs or mysterious buildings. He broke off a tree branch and went straight to the beach. Arriving at the beach, Yi Chen directly walked into the portal. When he reappeared, he was already in the governor's mansion of Samsara City. Go and call the shipbuilder over. Yi Chen opened his eyes after the dizziness disappeared. He immediately looked at the door and ordered. Yes, Sir Lord. When the maid heard Yi Chen's order, she hurriedly bowed and ran to call for the shipbuilder. Not long after, the shipbuilder hurriedly ran over. As soon as he entered the door, he bowed and said, Greetings, Sir Lord. Yi Chen nodded, then took out the tree branch from the island and asked, Do you know what kind of wood this is? After the shipbuilder took the tree branch, he glanced at it and was stunned on the spot. Then, he said with great surprise, Congratulations, Sir Lord. This is Millennium Black Ironwood. Not only is it the best wood for shipbuilding, but it can also be used to forge weapons. Weapons with Millennium Black Ironwood will definitely be upgraded by a level. You know about this? Yi Chen was slightly stunned, then asked. Sir Lord, I have been shipbuilders for 10 generations. I have a family tree illustration book, so I know about this. The shipbuilder bowed and replied. When Yi Chen heard this, his eyes suddenly opened and he asked, In your family tree illustration book, did it record how this wood was found? When Yi Chen asked this question, he naturally thought of a possibility after hearing the words, family tree illustration book. That was, the shipbuilder's ancestors were very likely to have reached the island. Yi Chen wanted to confirm the location of the island. When the shipbuilder heard this, He was slightly stunned, then he bowed and said, reporting to his lordship, there was a sentence written in the illustrated handbook of wood. Traveling east of Guangling, on the 5th day of the voyage, there was a sudden storm, causing the ship to capsize. When I woke up, I found myself on an island full of wood. After confirming it over and over again, I confirmed that the wood was Millennium Black Iron wood. Unfortunately, after leaving the island, I couldn't find the island again. When Yi Chen heard this, he couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. That island was really in the Great Han Sea, and it shouldn't be far from Wanation. The subsidiary village was built there. Yi Chen had just started to rise in the Great Han Empire, and he wanted to set up overseas. His goal was actually very simple. He wanted to snatch the fate of all the countries outside of the Great Han Empire in preparation for ascending to the Great Desolate World. The more fate he snatched before ascending, the stronger Yi Chen's fate would be. After ascending to the Great Desolate World, whether it was Yi Chen or Yi Chen's future empire, it would be easier for them to gain a foothold and rise. Then, they would be able to establish themselves in the Great Desolate World and even become the overlord of the Great Desolate World. Thinking of this, Yi Chen looked at the shipbuilder and said with a smile, "Very good, you can leave." "Yes, Sir Lord, this lowly one will take his leave." When the shipbuilder heard this, he immediately bowed and left the hall. Millennium Black Ironwood could be used to build ships, forge equipment, and upgrade equipment. This time, he had really picked up a treasure. When Yi Chen saw the Millennium Black Ironwood on the island, he immediately thought of building ships to prepare for the future. For example, if he didn't have a good warship in the future, how could he fight naval battles? He couldn't just stand on the shore and stare. The rivers in the game world were more than 10 times wider than the rivers in the real world. Furthermore, Yi Chen was preparing to find Penglai, Fangzhong, and Yingzhou Islands. Without a good ship, running out to sea was courting death. It was fine if there were strong winds and waves on the sea, but if there was a storm, ordinary ships wouldn't be able to withstand it. However, what Yi Chen didn't expect was that the Millennium Black Ironwood could not only be used to build ships, but it could also upgrade equipment by a level. Of course, it would only upgrade equipment below heaven grade. No matter how impressive the material in the mortal world was, it couldn't break through to the Khanate realm. Even if it was a postnatal spiritual treasure, it couldn't reach the Khanate realm. It was just that the teleportation gate could only last for a day. He still had to transport the savage rhinoceros from the island first. There was no time to get wood. Now that he didn't even have a high-level warship blueprint, there was no need to rush to prepare materials. He could first build the subsidiary village there. When the teleportation gate was opened, he could do whatever he wanted. Thinking of this, Yi Chen raised his eyebrows. Then, he looked at the maidservant at the door and ordered, "Call the deputy city lord over." "Yes, Sir Lord." The maidservant hurriedly bowed and ran off to find Zhao Heng. Yi Chen didn't wait for long before Zhao Heng arrived at the city lord's mansion. The moment Zhao Heng entered, he saw the teleportation gate in the hall. After being stunned for a moment, he bowed and greeted, "This lowly one greets the Lord." When Yi Chen saw Zhao Heng in a daze, he couldn't help but smile. Then, he said, "I'm preparing to build a subsidiary village on an island. Find 500 families willing to live on the island and 10,000 soldiers to gather here." Chapter 261. My lord, why do you want to build a subsidiary village on the island? Zhao Heng asked in surprise. Because there is Millennium Dark Ironwood there. It is the best material for building ship. Moreover, it will become a springboard for Samsara City to conquer the foreign countries. Yi Chen smiled and said. Zhao Heng was stunned. It took him a while to come back to his senses. He bowed solemnly and said, "My lord, I am willing to go to the island you mentioned and build a subsidiary village for you." At this moment, how could Zhao Heng not understand Yi Chen's thoughts? This was Yi Chen's move for the future, and it was extremely important. As an old man who had followed Yi Chen since the beginning, Zhao Heng was well aware of the current strength of Samsara City. He also knew that the population of Samsara City would only increase in the future. If he didn't want to be squeezed out, he had to make a lot of contributions. Now that he knew that Yi Chen wanted to build a subsidiary village on the island to prepare for the future, Zhao Heng naturally wanted to take on this task. Only in this way could he make greater contributions to Yi Chen and not be squeezed out by the increasing number of talents in Samsara City in the future. Yi Chen looked at Zhao Heng, who was solemnly asking for his permission, and was slightly stunned. Then, he nodded and said, "That's good. If you go, I will be more at ease. How about this? Bring some maids with you. The conditions there are very difficult." "Thank you for your concern, my lord. But I am going to build a subsidiary village. I can't be greedy for pleasure." Zhao Heng felt warmth in his heart. He bowed and said. Yi Chen shook his head helplessly and said, "The conditions there are too tough. The conditions there are too harsh. I don't want you to fall ill because of overwork. There are maids to take care of your daily life. You can do whatever you want. Moreover, the Samsara City is no longer the Samsara village of the past. You don't have to live a hard life. Otherwise, how can I rest assured?" "My lord." Zhao Heng was touched. He bowed and said, but his words were stuck in his throat because he was too touched. Yi Chen looked at Zhao Heng, who was extremely touched. He smiled and said, "Go and select 500 households of Samsara citizens. Then, find Yan Xiong and select 10,000 Samsara soldiers. Equip those soldiers with diamond-grade equipment. In addition, bring sufficient food, wood, stones, and other resources." "Yes, my lord." Zhao Heng let out a long breath and bowed solemnly. After that, he left the hall to carry out Yi Chen's orders. Yi Chen looked at the maidservant at the door and ordered, "Go and call Advisor Jun over." "Yes, Sir Lord." After hearing Yi Chen's order, the maid hurriedly bowed, then ran to find Guiyi. Not long after, Guiyi brought Zhao Yun to the hall. As soon as they entered the door, the two bowed and said, "Greetings, my lord." Yi Chen nodded, then looked at Zhao Yun and asked, "Yunjing, how's the investigation going?" Yi Chen had asked Zhao Yun to close the transmission formation and strictly investigate the people who came to Samsara City through the transmission formation. This was because Taiping Syndicate's tentacles had already reached Samsara City. Yi Chen did this to prevent the Taiping Syndicate's spies from sneaking into Samsara City. Now that Zhao Yun was coming over, it was obvious that the investigation had been completed. When Zhao Yun heard Yi Chen's question, he hurriedly bowed and said, "My lord, the investigation of the people who came to Samsara City through the transmission formation has been completed. No suspicious person was found." Yi Chen was relieved when he heard this. Then, he said, "Very well. From now on, send more people to the transmission formation and strictly investigate all the people who came to Samsara City through the transmission formation. Arrest those who dare to make a fuss or refuse to be investigated. If they dare to resist, kill them on the spot." The best result was that no spies from the Taiping Syndicate were found. Once the spies were found, it was possible that the people of Samsara City had obtained the talisman water of the Taiping Syndicate. This was not a good thing for Yi Chen. Those who drank the talisman water of the Taiping Syndicate would definitely become members of the Taiping Syndicate. When that time came, they would either be killed or driven away. Yi Chen did not want to see this happen. Because these were the people of Samsara City. Yi Chen did not want to see any of them die. "Yes, my lord." "My lord." Zhao Yunjing nodded solemnly, then bowed in response. Yi Chen smiled slightly, then looked at Guiyi and asked, "Feng Xiao, have the notices been posted?" "My lord, the notices declaring the Taiping Syndicate as the evil syndicate have been posted on the streets and alleys. The people of Samsara City have already known about it. However, the reaction was a little intense. Now, without exception, the people will stare at the people who come to Samsara City whenever they go out on the street. Guo Yi bowed in response to Yi Chen's question. Yi Chen was stunned when he heard this. Then, he smiled and said, "It's okay. This is a good thing. As for the merchants, let them feel uncomfortable." The people of Samsara city respected Yi Chen, loved Yi Chen, and believed in Yi Chen. They did not resist Yi Chen's orders at all. Because of this, the people spontaneously stared at the people who came to Samsara city. For Yi Chen, the people of Samsara city were the people that Yi Chen trusted the most. Guo Yi was slightly stunned when he heard Yi Chen's words. Then, he asked, "My lord, what if the merchants are unwilling to come to Samsara city? Won't the business of 100 Flowers Brew be affected?" Feng Shao, merchants are after profits. Not only can 100 Flowers Brew make money, but it is also very profitable. The merchants will not give up such a big piece of meat. They will not care about a little bit of unhappiness. Yi Chen laughed and said. Guo Yi was stunned when he heard this. Then, he said with emotion, "Then I can rest assured. Samsara city will not be affected too much." Yi Chen smiled and nodded. Then, he said, "Feng Shao, go post another notice. There will be many savage beasts coming to Samsara city. Tell the people not to go near them." Savage beasts? Guo Yi's eyes widened when he heard this. Then, he asked, "My lord, are the savage beasts in the teleportation gate?" Zhao Yun was at the teleportation gate. Guo Yi saw him the moment he came in. But since Yi Chen was asking, it was not appropriate for them to ask. Now that Yi Chen mentioned savage beasts, Guo Yi immediately thought of the teleportation gate. Yi Chen smiled and nodded. Then, he said, "It is there. My lord, you mean that there are many savage beasts and they have already submitted to you?" Guo Yi's eyes lit up. "That's right. There is an island inside the teleportation gate. There is a herd of savage rhinoceroses on the island. They have all submitted to me." Yi Chen laughed and said. Guo Yi was overjoyed when he heard this. He bowed and said, "Congratulations, my lord. Congratulations, my lord. The heavy cavalry of Samsara city will dominate the world." You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.